Sometimes history comes when you least expect it. The 1-9 Fordham Rams won't be a team permanently etched on a trophy. They won't be talked about for generations. But they will forever be tied to milestones that could last a lifetime. 2 weeks ago, James Conway made his 425th career tackle, tying his former teammate-turned-coach Ryan Greenhagen for the most in program history. Today, he's got a chance to set a new Patriot League record and solidify himself as one of the greatest players the conference has ever seen. And he's not the only one. Running back Julius Luffridge continues his ascent up the Fordham record book, now just 49 yards shy of becoming the fourth Ram to post multiple 1,000-yard seasons. Seasons may be forgotten, but legends live on. Today at Rose Hill, we bear witness to history. Fordham versus Georgetown, live from Jack Coffey Field on WFUV Sports. The Patriot League finale for the Fordham Rams. It's 1-9 Fordham playing host to the 5-4 Georgetown Hoyas at Jack Coffey Field in Moglia Stadium. What's up, everyone? Lou Orlando, joined by former Fordham wide receiver Evan Harkin. Glad to bring you Fordham football on 90.7 FM WFUV. Evan, November 16th, Week 12 in college football. Just 2 games left in the college football regular season for Fordham and Georgetown. No playoff hopes on the line, both of them eliminated from Patriot League playoff play, but still plenty of history on the line, namely with James Conway chasing the Patriot League tackling record.
Exactly, Lou. Both of these teams still don't like each other. They're still both within the same league. Even if they're not playing for the championship, you still want to beat your in-league rival, a team that you see every single week. And then on the other side of that, these are two teams that just came off of crucial, heartbreaking losses to other teams in the same league. So you want to go out there and get some wins in the Patriot League, no matter what your record says. And like you said, some bigger stakes here on the line. The Patriot League tackle king could be James Conway at the end of today's game.
James Conway, 8 tackles shy of becoming the leading tackler in Patriot League history. Julius Luffridge is 49 yards shy of his second straight 1,000-yard season. That would put him in elite company in Fordham history. So a couple of the Fordham stars, they have a chance in the final few games of the season to really make their mark. Fordham and Georgetown, 1:02 p.m. kickoff from the Bronx. We'll get you all set for this one. Before we do, Evan and I caught up with Fordham football head coach Joe Conlon.
Evan Harkin, Lou Orlando, joined alongside Fordham football head coach Joe Conlon. Coach, best game from a receiving standpoint last game, most yards, receptions, touchdowns. Ricky Gonzalez, I thought, was a standout, 80 yards and a touchdown. What did you see from Ricky and that receiving core?
Yeah, I mean, Ricky is really starting to play like the guy we think he is. He did some good things last year. He came into camp with a bit of a hamstring, and it took about 5 weeks for that to clear up. So wasn't quite himself front half of the year. And really last, I would say, 2 or 3 games has come on and running strong, playing. He's a 200-pound kid. He's strong. He's starting to play like that. So it's great to see, and he's a guy that really works at it. So it's been fun to watch him get back to form.
The stats end up in a pretty good spot for Jack. Is that the best game you've seen start to finish from Cavaldi?
Yeah, I mean, outside of the 2 turnovers, I thought it was his best game. I think he was really on top of it, throwing the ball confidently, made pretty good decisions in the run game for the most part. Knew when to kind of throw and when not to. Played a nice game overall. It's just, the turnovers were, and he knew it the second they happened. He knew he should have been in a different spot. With the fumble, should have handed it off, and with the interception, should have gone into the boundary. But so he's learning, and it's just tough because it's on the job learning, and at that position is a challenge. But he's done a really good job, and he's preparing every week, and you've seen a progression, so it's been good.
You mentioned Ricky with that hamstring. We know Mackay was dealing with some hamstring issues, had a really good last couple of games. Is he finally getting back to full healthy, full Mackay?
Yeah, he seems to be. He same thing. He was healthy front end of camp, and then aggravated his in the middle part, and really wasn't quite himself up until I would say, Lafayette or Holy Cross, missed Dartmouth. So, yeah, I mean, Mackay is he looks a lot like 22 and 23 Mackay right now, which is great, and had the great touchdown catch against Colgate. So, the more of that we can get, better we're going to be.
Against Bucknell, 41 rushing yards allowed. I know you talked a little bit with Evan yesterday, but that's a very low number, and it's also, we've talked about the rushing game and some of the misfits, some of the stuff that you wanted to see get cleaned up. Did you see a lot of those things get cleaned up?
Yeah, I mean, last 2 weeks we've held the opponent to under 100 rushing, and that gives you a chance. I thought they did a fantastic job against Bucknell's running backs all day. I would say the bulk of their rushing yards probably came on scrambles. That's kind of the last piece we have to clean up is pocket integrity and keeping those guys in there and finishing sacks. We probably should have got Rucker on the ground another 4 or 5 times. So, yeah, it's great to see. But that's, it's not, we don't expect 100 every week. That'd be great. But we expect our D-line to play well. We believe in those guys. We think they have talent. And, and certainly with Jackson's been playing better at the second level. And Mike obviously does a great job against the run. So, in those games where you're going to have Jimmy, that definitely helps too.
Jacob Rodriguez finally healthy now, it seems. We saw him against Colgate, saw a heavier dosage of him against Bucknell. What have you seen out of him?
Yeah, he's coming off an injury he suffered in spring ball. And to his credit and credit of our AT staff and Coach Gilfeder, he looks fantastic. He runs strong. He's strong as heck. He runs strong. He's got really good hands out of the backfield. He's been, for a guy who's not taken a lot of reps, he's been pretty solid in protection. And so it's been, great. I mean, he's a great compliment to Juice. So, he's a kid who, once again, is just an extremely hard worker, and you see it paying off. So it's been great to see.
Boogie Owens seemed to have a good game last week. Did you see anything good from him and those DBs? 10 pass breakups tied a season high.
Yeah, I mean, Bug, probably one of our better cover guys. He's long, moves well, played at a very good program in Texas. So, he's back-to-back state champ. So he's definitely a guy that's been developed well, and credit to the staff for Toledo. Been developed well, and Coach Lenahan's done a really good job with him. Yeah, I mean, Bug, we think once he kind of develops physically, he'll be a premier safety in this league.
Thanks, Coach.
Fordham versus Georgetown, 1 p.m. kickoff from the Bronx. And Evan, as you said in our intro, both these teams coming off losses, but 2 very different losses. For the Fordham Rams, a 28-27 loss against Bucknell. Bucknell, one of the best teams in the conference, a chance to clinch the Patriot League title this week against Holy Cross. But for Fordham, their best offensive output of the season, a season-high 27 points, led by a career game from Jack Capaldi. At 1-9, you're not in the business of moral victories, but at the same time, that's the best this offense has looked all season long.
Absolutely the best this team's probably looked on all phases of the football all season long was last week. Jack Capaldi, with what Coach Conlon called his best game out there, said he looked confident out there. A big part of why he looked confident, Lou, was 240 rushing yards along with the passing game. If you can rush up and down the football field like that, it's really going to open up the passing game, make a quarterback feel twice as comfortable. And then in the receiving core, they had the best game they've had all season long, over 300 receiving yards, 3 separate receivers up and over 50 receiving yards. So they're trying to take all those little things they did last game, bring them into this game, but then turn that into a win. What they did poorly was the game management in close situations, Lou. Couldn't score when they got down in the red zone, couldn't convert first downs.
We talked a little bit off the record with Coach Conlon. Fordham had 3 trips to the red zone. They came away with 3 points. They at one point had the ball on the 1-yard line with a fresh set of downs. They didn't get any points on that sequence. So the red zone issues, that was unacceptable last week, and it was a major reason for the loss.
And Coach Conlon mentioned when you get down there, you don't want to quote-unquote reinvent the wheel, Lou. You want to do the little things that got you down there. He made a point. You obviously want to try to rush it with Julius Luffridge, the back who took you down to the end zone. But then when that doesn't work, it started getting a little shaky for the Fordham Rams. Didn't really know where to turn. You like to stretch the field right and left in the red zone, and they really just couldn't do that last week.
For Georgetown, a bit of a different feeling loss than what Fordham had last week. Well, Georgetown coming off a bye, but in Week 10, blown out 43-6 against Lehigh. Lehigh, one of the three teams still vying for a Patriot League title. Lehigh ran for 310 yards against the Hoyas. Safe to say, not their best showing.
It was probably the worst game you could have had all season long by any team in the Patriot League. The way the Georgetown Hoyas played last week, you look down at the stats, everybody has very uncharacteristic stats for that Lehigh game. You see 2 tackles, 1 tackle all up and down this defense. It's because Lehigh was able to get that running game going, and Georgetown really wasn't. They have the second worst rushing attack in the Patriot League right now statistically. The games they've won, Lou, they seem to rush the ball decently well. Those games they lose, they really have under 100 rushing yards, just like they did in that Lehigh game.
It's a Georgetown team that battling some injuries, specifically on the offensive end, but they still have the Patriot League's leading wide receiver in Jimmy Kibble. On the defensive end, they have Cooper Blomstrom, who is going to be in contention for Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year when it's all said and done. So Georgetown 5-4, 2-2 in the Patriot League, but plenty of talent. All set for kickoff from Rose Hill. Georgetown kicking right to left. Anderson puts toe to leather. We're underway. Kick bounces into the end zone for a touchback. And the Fordham Rams will start Week 12 with the football. And Evan, as we said, it's an offense that got hot last week. And the focal point, Julius Luffridge, a season-high 155 yards. He became the 5th all-time rusher in Fordham history.
Julius Luffridge with an outstanding game last week. He's really been doing that. He's got a touchdown in every one of his last 6 games, 8 touchdowns within that span. There's no secret to how to get this offense going. It's getting number 15 going early, Lou.
Fordham has 2 last home games to close out their season, but this, the Patriot League finale. Fordham decked out in maroon. It's Georgetown in all white with navy helmets. Capaldi stands in the gun, Luffridge to his right, and he's got trips right on the near sideline. Thornton, Felton, Buron sideline in. Opening snap of football. Capaldi, play fake, looking down the field, unloads deep over the middle, incomplete. Wanted Cole Thornton, underthrew him a bit. Defense catches up, and that's a deflection by Zeron Daniel.
Well, just like last week, Lou, we see the Fordham offense come out throwing the ball downfield. Typically what they did earlier in the season, hand it off to Julius Luffridge, see if he can get us going, make Capaldi comfortable. They've switched it up in the last couple of games. Let's see if we can get throwing the ball downfield early, and if that can open up Luffridge.
Capaldi, 2 deep strikes that went for touchdowns last week. One to Cole Thornton for 59 yards, the other 30 yards to Ricky Gonzalez. 6 seconds in, handoff, Luffridge burrows up the middle and falls forward to pick up 3. There's the first carry for Julius Luffridge.
And that's a big carry right there. Only 3 yards, but you see the offensive line get the initial push. The battle in the trenches is going to be huge today. Georgetown, one of the best on the offensive and defensive fronts.
Luffridge out to the left sideline. 3 down low, 2 up top, Capaldi and empty. Luffridge motions back into the backfield, opening 30 seconds of football. Capaldi looks left, finds Luffridge out of the backfield at the 25. He's tripped up. And looks like this will be an early 3-and-out forced by the Georgetown Hoyas.
Yeah, Jack Capaldi going deep early. When you don't convert that on first down, it really leaves you in a gray area for second and third. You're looking to pick up 5 yards on each one of those downs. They could have gotten a pass interference on that first down. Cole Thornton was looking for it, but that really changed the trajectory of that drive, and we'll see Will Hazlitt out here.
Fordham offense unimpressive on their first look today. So Will Hazlitt comes out, punts from his own 15, and just barely gets it away. It may have been tipped, but it gets into Georgetown territory. Rolling to the 35, picked up by Dunneman, and the play whistled dead at the 35-yard line.
Walker Atkinson, the long snapper, the first guy down there. That's exactly what you want from the long snapping position. He's allowed to be free and untouched after he snaps the football. Can't be blocked until he starts his run down the field. So you want that guy to do exactly what second-team All-Patriot League preseason pick Walker Atkinson just did.
Look at the Georgetown offense led by quarterback Danny Lauder taking over the starting reins from Tyler Knapp, who transferred to Stony Brook. We saw him at Rose Hill back in Week 3. Lauder takes over the reins, and he's got an elite wide receiver crew to throw to, headlined by Jimmy Kibble.
And Lauder throws the ball a lot. The second most attempts in the Patriot League, 281. That also comes with throwing a lot of interceptions, though. Tied for first in interceptions in the Patriot League. He's got a lot of those at 10 to go along with only 11 interceptions. So if the Fordham defense can be opportunistic, maybe jump in the passing lanes, we know Niall Perkins leads the league in interceptions right now with 5, could be a favorable matchup.
Lauder, you mentioned the 10 interceptions, tied for the lead in the Patriot League, tied for 8th in the FCS. So we'll see, as you mentioned, Fordham can be at times an opportunistic defense. Talk about this Georgetown offense, a bit marred by injury. They enter the season with the all-consensus best tight end in the conference, Isaiah Grimes. He caught the game-winning touchdown against Fordham last year that gave them their first conference loss of the season. Isaiah Grimes has been out since week 5. Naeem Kearney entered the season as their starting running back. He's been in and out of the lineup. It's been a running theme for Georgetown this year, but they've had some tough injuries to contend with.
Yeah, Kearney went down with only 25 yards away from 1,000 on his career, so that's a running back that's been dominant at Georgetown throughout his entire time there, not just this year. But they've got some guys as you go down that list. Bryce Cox has not been doing a bad job right behind Kearney, taking over in that lead role in the backfield. 5.2 yards per carry, only 51 yards per game, but they'll go to Uday and Rebe as well down there. And then in the tight end spot, Max McCormick filling those shoes of Isaiah Grimes.
For Fordham defensively, after not playing last week, it's number 48, James Conway. He tied the Fordham record 2 weeks ago, has a chance to set the Patriot League record today in front of the home fans. A minute 15 into this ball game, no score. Lauder stands in the gun with Bryce Cox to his left. Snap. Hand off to Cox, takes it up the middle, breaks through one tackle, surges forward for 5, brought down at the 39-yard line.
Well, the Fordham linebacking core, especially Mike Courtney, finding the football there as it got through the defensive line pretty easily. Coach Conlon mentioned last week the linebacking core did really good with fits, especially without superstar James Conway in the mix.
Fordham held Bucknell to 41 rushing yards the entire game. That is a season best for the Fordham defense. Hand off to Cox, running left, this time right into the line, and it's Matt Jaworski and Sam Burkle that get him for no gain.
Well, that time Matt Jaworski lets this Georgetown offense know that he's going to be out there, and he'll be there for a while today. 9 QB hurries last week, Lou. If you have 9 QB hurries on the season right now, you'd be amongst top 5 in the league. Matt Jaworski, number 1 with 25 of those on the season, pretty much lives in the backfield.
Jaworski moves from the right to the left for 3rd down and 6, opening 2 minutes of football from Jack Coffey Field. Lauder has 2 receivers on either side. Fordham sends blitz. Lauder looking right, throws it right side, and brought in Fordham territory. Over the shoulder grab and out of bounds.
And that's a great toss there from Lauder, finding the soft spot in between the zone coverage. Boogie Owens and Niall Perkins there, sandwiching a receiver, but there seems to be just some space in the middle. Lauder finds it, and that's a theme that hurt the Rams last week, quarterbacks being able to sit and find open receivers in zone coverage.
Jimmy Kibble, a 22-yard reception. He leads all active wide receivers, 18.8 yards per catch. Handoff up the gut. Not going to get a ton there, picks up a couple.
And that seems to be Naeem Kearney on the rush right there, so he'll be out there today for the Hoyas. That's going to be huge for them. 68 attempts, 333 rushing yards, and 6 touchdowns on the season. Been very spotty, not playing in every game. Weren't sure if we were going to see him out here today.
Naeem Kearney, battling injuries, did not play in Week 10 against Lehigh, but back in the lineup today, stays out there to the right of Lauder. 2nd down and 8. Lauder looks left, throws left, head-high catch by Cam Pygott. Enough for the 1st down. Gets up to the Fordham 28-yard line.
Well, these receivers right here, Cam Pygott, Nicholas Dunman, and Jimmy Kimball, pretty much as good as a triple threat as you can get in the receiving position.
1st and 10 from the Fordham 28, 11:20 left in the first quarter. It's Georgetown looking to get on the board first. Pygott lined up all alone to the left. Kibble on the right side in trips formation. Dunman motions into the backfield, and he gets the reception out of the backfield. No, it's incomplete. Lauder targets him. Dunman only able to get a hand on that when it falls to the ground.
Well, this drive so far, the Georgetown Hoyas have been marching downfield slowly. They've been finding the receivers that are open underneath the coverage, rushing for about 3-4 yards a carry, getting 1st down after 1st down. But here's where that gets thrown off schedule. When you have a bad play on 1st down, it puts you behind the sticks. And now it's 2nd and 10. You have to go off script, off schedule, and make a big play.
11:02 left in the first. Dunman in motion right to the left. Play fake. Lauder throws left side. Incomplete. Kibble trying to go up and make a leaping grab, but heavily contested. Alex Kemper and Trey Bradford right next to him.
Well, a bit of a nightmare play there for the Hoyas ever since it started. There was a miscommunication in the motion. Two separate players motion. They're lucky that didn't get sent back for 5 yards of an illegal motion right away. And then lucky that it didn't end up as an interception. There were two Fordham defenders, Trey Bradford and Alex Kemper, right around that football.
3rd down and 10. 10:55 left in the first. A flinch from the Fordham defensive line. The play is whistled dead, so we'll see maybe if that's false start.
And that's going to be big here. John Scott seems to be the man the referees were looking at for crossing the line.
False start on the Georgetown offense. That would be the freshman Savion Hart. And so curious, I think you see them whistle that play dead. Usually if that's on the defense, they'll let it go.
Right, but John Scott seemed to throw his hands up in disarray. Seemed like that was completely on him, maybe giving it away a little bit to the referees, but they'll say that's on the offensive line. So a great job of John Scott by reacting to a twitch that he saw.
3rd and 15. As the Georgetown offense moves back 5 after the false start penalty. 3-receiver tight end set. Hart stays in the backfield, gets the handoff, running left. Caught by Courtney at the 30-yard line, so Hart picks up 4. But it'll still be 4th and long for the Georgetown offense. And not quite sure that they're in field goal range here at the 29-yard line, testing the limits of Patrick Ryan.
And they seem to be keeping Danny Lauder out there right now. He'll go back to his offensive line and scream a play at them. Mike Courtney wrapping that one up and making it a 4th and long.
This would be a 46-yarder. Patrick Ryan's long is 49, but that was last season. Fordham stacks the line for 4th and 11. 10.5 to play in the first. Lauder peers into his sideline for the play call. Play clock ticking under 10 seconds. Lauder gets the snap. Fordham sends heavy blitz. Lauder hit as he throws, and incomplete. Terrence Jones coming off the edge from the secondary. Fordham gets pressure and forces the incompletion.
Well, pre-snap, I was a little confused there, Lou. Fordham in a complete man coverage look, no safety over top, every single corner or safety manned up on a receiver. Not something you usually see on a 4th and 11, but that's because they're sending a major blitz. And Coach Conlon told us when you have corners as good as Alex and Niall, it makes you not afraid to play man, not afraid to blitz, and that makes your defense better. We just saw a really good example of that right there.
5 minutes of football down and no score. Fordham gets the football back as they force the turnover on downs. Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin, Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
What's up, everyone? I'm Evan Harkin, your New York Jets beat reporter for the 2024 season. Stay up to date with all things white and green from MetLife Stadium. From Aaron Rodgers touchdowns to Sauce Gardner interceptions, I've got you covered. So join me and Gang Green on Twitter at Ev Harkin and stay locked in with the JETS on WFUV, your home for New York sports.
Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin, our on-site reporter, our on-site guy Jack Warner, our sidelines reporter Annabelle Watson, Fordham Football on WFUV Sports. And Evan, on 4th down and 11, felt like Fordham sent 7 guys there, and the guy that gets to the quarterback, Terrence Jones II, lays the pressure, gives Lauder a shove, and forces the turnover on downs.
100%, Lou. They seem to send everybody on that play, told their corners to play man bail, where you're really just not allowing a ball over the top of your head, and you can do that when the offense is going against double sticks. See, the Fordham defensive philosophy on that entire drive was bend, don't break, until they got into that 4th down area, and then they said, okay, now it's time to send the dogs. They had everybody sitting back in zone coverage, coming up, allowing 5-yard catches, allowing 3-yard runs, saying eventually you'll make a mistake and you'll be behind the sticks yourselves. That's when we're going to switch it up and send our dogs at you. It worked to perfection.
No tackles for James Conway on that first drive. Each offense has possessed the ball once. We're still scoreless. 10:08 left in the first quarter. A second look at a Fordham offense that took a deep shot in their first play of the game. Capaldi has 2 up top, 1 down low. Snap, play fake, throws it quickly near side. Cole Thornton at the 35-yard line, extending for the 40, and he'll get awfully close. Referee standing just shy of the first down marker. Now he says move the chains.
And Cole Thornton really emerging as this team's true number one this season in his final year here as a grad student. All season highs last week, 6 receptions, 130 yards, along of 59 and a touchdown.
And Coach Conlon said the difference is he's been healthy this year. 1st and 10 from the 29. The clock ticks under 10 minutes. Capaldi gives it to Luffridge this time. Runs up the middle, breaks through a tackle, past midfield. Breaks through another tackle, past the 40-yard line. They'll say out of bounds at the 42, but Julius Luffridge breaking through arm tackles with ease.
Breaking through just about every tackle right there. Julius Luffridge, all with the stiff arm. Only needed one move, no fancy feet, none of that. Just get off of me, I'm going somewhere, and that's for a first down.
A one Luffridge run and Fordham at the Georgetown 43. Fresh set of downs. Play fake. Capaldi unloads deep right side. Wants Cole Thornton. Over the shoulder grab. This one will be close. He's down just shy of the end zone at the 2. Capaldi goes deep, and guess what? The guy we just talked about, Cole Thornton.
Getting more and more deja vu every single week. It seems every week, Lou, there's a play where Cole Thornton dives and catches a football at the 1-yard line. He'd love for those to end up being touchdowns. That's his 3rd of the season, but he's been great at tracking the football, manipulating corners with his eyes.
Thornton down at the 2. This is 1st and goal from the 2. Trips left, Luffridge to the left to Capaldi. Snap, handoff Luffridge, running right, carries the defender into the end zone, touchdown Fordham. Fordham gets on the board first. It's Julius Luffridge, his 9th touchdown of the season, 6-0 Rams.
And Julius Luffridge with his 7th touchdown in the last 7 games so far. He's got a lot in that span, but he's been eating up when they get near the end zone. Coach Conlon told us, Lou, don't reinvent the wheel once you get down there. Give it to the guy that got you down there. It was Julius Luffridge setting up that long pass to Cole Thornton, and then he punches it in for 6.
Well, it was Luffridge's 18-yard run in the stiff arm that got Fordham into Georgetown territory. The 41-yard reception by Thornton gets them to the goal line, and Luffridge takes them home. Extra point from Henderson goes straight through the uprights. Fordham a 7-0 lead with 8:21 left in the first, and there haven't been too many games this season where it feels like Fordham breaks the scoreless tie first. That was a nice drive after a first one that felt a little lackadaisical.
Seems like this Fordham offense really trying to test these Georgetown corners, especially today they're without Wedner Cadet as well out there, their best cornerback. So going against some weaker corners, you've seen them go twice now for Cole Thornton deep. That time they hit him, and he's been doing that every single week lately.
We talked to Coach Conlon. That was one of the things we asked about. Fordham has dealt with a couple injuries in the wide receiver room. Garrett Cody has been out the last few games. Mekhi Felton has had lower body, lower muscle injuries nagging him throughout the entire season. That Cole Thornton has been effectively this team's number 1 wide receiver. We asked, is that just he's been available, he's been the option, or has he taken the leap? And Coach Conlon said he's been healthy and he's been able to blow by guys on the sideline.
Right, when we asked, is this just this year? Has this always been Cole? His first response was, yeah, well, he's always been hurt. That's really what it's been. This season we see the real, true 100% Cole Thornton, and Coach Conlon mentioned he can do everything as a wide receiver, maybe except block. He threw that in there as a little joke at the end because he can block too, but able to really stop on a dime, and probably his best trait is being able to manipulate corners with his eyes. That's why you see them go downfield to him a lot. On that play, he had a cornerback and a safety around him. They could have made a play on the football. He slowed down on purpose to give the aroma that the football was underthrown, slow down both of those defenders with his own eyes, his own feet, knowing he was going to re-speed up the entire time, catch that football, dive forward for it, and set up the Rams on the doorstep for a touchdown.
And how about Luffridge? Opened the season 3 straight games without a touchdown. It's now 7 straight games where he has recorded a touchdown, and there was a dip midway through the season where once we got into conference play, teams loaded the box against him, and it felt like his numbers started to dip. His numbers are not dipping anymore. He has returned to the dominance that we're used to seeing from him.
And the passing attack has really been helping him out. Like you mentioned, teams stacking the box against Holy Cross. Coach Conlon mentioned that they seemed like they kept hitting their head on the same wall, going for the same idea, which wasn't working. Just run it to Julius up the middle because Cross knew that's what was coming. Ever since that game, they've opened up the passing attack more, gotten the ball left to right, spread out defenders, and it lets Julius work much easier until that second level. We saw what happens when he gets to the second level untouched, Lou. A lot of defenders end up on their backside.
Cole Thornton, the 41-yard reception. And Luffridge punches in the score, a 2-yard rushing touchdown. The Fordham Rams lead 7-0 over Georgetown, 8:21 left in the first. Henderson's kick, end over end. Botched here by Inarobo, and he'll have to fall on it inside the 15-yard line. Inarebe, it seemed like a pretty standard kick, but wasn't able to come up with it clean, and Georgetown here will be trapped inside their own 20.
Yeah, Inaribe, that's very uncharacteristic for him. He's been this team's kick returner, been pretty reliable. That time really just a fluke. The sun couldn't have been on his eyes at all. It's on the other side of the field, so really just never got to that football, but was able to jump on it at the end and keep the possession in the Hoyas' hands.
Georgetown starts at their own 12-yard line, 8:17 left in the first. They find themselves trailing 7-0. Lauder in the gun, trips to his right. Hands off to Cox, cuts up the middle, breaks through a tackle, stiff arms a man, and he's loose. Passes 30, 40, approaching midfield. Conway shoves him out of bounds around his own 48-yard line, but Bryce Cox, in a flash, takes Georgetown to midfield.
Bryce Cox saying Julius Luffridge is not the only dynamic running back in this football game. I'm back here too, and this is what I can do when I get to the second level, and he does just what Julius Luffridge did, bouncing off tacklers. Niall Perkins catches a stiff arm, and James Conway has to push him out of bounds 40 yards downfield.
That tackle, Conway becomes the leader in Fordham history, no longer tied with his former teammate Ryan Greenhagen. Lauder pumps, facing pressure, brought down around the 40-yard line. Fordham swarms him from every angle, and that is a team sack there, Evan.
Yeah, could not identify a single person that got the sack. It seemed like all four of Fordham's defensive linemen on the unit right there, but coming off of James Conway's record-breaking tackle on that last play, pretty special to see, Lou.
After the Cox 33-yard run, Lauder sacked for a loss of 3. 7:05 left in the first. Lauder in the gun. Donovan motions across. Handoff to Cox, takes it up the middle. Met by Barletta. And Barletta tackles back at the 48-yard line. Conway in there to help as well. Make this 3rd down and 7.
The Hoyas' offensive line been pretty good in the run game so far today. You look at the offensive line, a lot of older names, junior, senior, and sophomore. The rest of this Hoyas team, a lot of sophomore and freshmen, so some veteran presence up front.
3rd down and 6, 6.5 to play. Lauder stands in the gun, back to throw. Fordham sends pressure. Lauder off the back foot, incomplete. Wanted Cox on what looked to be a halfback slip screen. Fordham's pressure too strong there.
And on halfback slip screens, you're expecting pressure. Your offensive linemen are pulling, and you know that pressure is going to come. You're just not expecting Matt Jaworski type of pressure, and that's what they saw on that play. It's a little bit different, really scares quarterbacks when they see big number 34 in the backfield, and that time it results in an incompletion.
James Conway, 2 tackles in that drive, the number up to 427, 5 shy of tying the Patriot League record. Patrick Ryan to punt from his own 35. Boots away, strong kick spiraling to the 8-yard line. Cole Thornton, the fair catch. Fordham defense looking strong to start, and that has not been uncharacteristic of them the past few weeks.
And it's been bend, don't break yet again on that last drive. They let up a massive run to Cox. It looks like the Hoyas offense is finally going to get going. And then the Rams are able to come up, make a bunch of tackles, and force a punt.
7-0, the Rams lead. 6:15 left in the first quarter, and the offense trots back out there. Now, this time they'll be trapped inside their own 10. Maybe we glossed over it, but Patrick Ryan, excellent punt there. Patrick Ryan has been one of the better special teamers in the Patriot League. He does the kicking and the punting for this Hoyas team. Capaldi stands in the gun at his own 2-yard line. Ball lined up at the 8. Handoff to Rodriguez. Bounces out left past the 10. Tripped up at the 13. Falls forward down at the 14-yard line. First carry for the sophomore.
There's the sophomore, Jacob Rodriguez. Haven't seen a ton of him this season. Able to see him in these last 3 games. Coach Conlon said he was struggling with an issue that he got in spring ball and that he, quote-unquote, looks fantastic over these last couple of games. Gave credit to the strength staff for his recovery.
Gain of 6, sets up 2nd and 4. The clock ticks under 6 minutes. Fordham gets the snap off. It's whistled dead. A flag comes from the far side, and false start will move the Rams back. That'll be Owen Deutsch returning to the lineup and starting at right tackle. Well, I'm at left tackle right now.
Yeah, no David Evbomenya out there. Weren't expecting that. It'll be Hank Perry and Owen Deutsch at the tackle spots.
Owen Deutsch missed the last few games after an injury against Lehigh. Deutsch back in and called for the false start. Makes the 2nd and 9 with 5:30 to play in the first. Capaldi trips to his right. Georgetown sends pressure. Handoff to Rodriguez, takes it wide, near side, 10, 15, tripped up around the 18-yard line. Nice space to work off of. Hank Perry making the block.
Hank Perry with a great block there, but Jacob Rodriguez really making the defensive end miss and turning that into a positive play all by himself. He's been a true number 2 behind Julius Luffridge these last 3 weeks, and he does look fantastic out there. Looks like a great change of pace, a little bit more speed and vision than Julius Luffridge, and less run you right over.
10-yard gain and a first down. They go back to Rodriguez again, though it's kept by Capaldi, running left past the 25, tripped up at the 30, and you can move the chains again. 11-yard rush for Jack Capaldi, and I think, as you can tell, did a pretty good job of disguising that one.
And Capaldi's been using his legs great as of late. Last week, 14 rushes. That's the most on the season. 35 yards got out of those rushes as well. That's along with a lot of sacks, so he had a lot more than 35 yards, but set him up to pass the ball well when he was rushing well last week.
1st and 10 from the 30. 4:20 to play in the first. Capaldi, play fake. Throws it to the right side for KJ Reed. Incomplete. Wanted to go back shoulder. Ended up going out of bounds.
That's a good throw there from Capaldi, even though it just touched the out-of-bounds area. That's a hash fade. So really what you're trying to do is lay the ball in between the numbers and the sideline. It's on the receiver to find enough room over there, manipulate the corner enough to give you that blanket. Just really wasn't able to connect there on that pass to KJ Reed.
2nd and 10. The Rams leading by 7-0 here in the first. Handoff to Rodriguez. Bounces out left and nowhere to go. Tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. And Giancarlo Rufo getting in there to force a loss of 1.
Yeah, that seemed to be the read option, Lou, that they've really loved running with Jack Capaldi, but didn't matter whether he handed it off or kept it himself on that play. The entire defensive line for the Hoyas dominated.
Luffridge rejoins the backfield for 3rd and 11. 3:45 left in the first. Capaldi has 2 receivers either side. Back to throw. Looks left. Steps up. He'll scramble to the right. Now he throws. Wide open. Leaping grab. Noden Tracy past midfield. Out of bounds. Shy of the 40-yard line. Capaldi extending the play, finds a wide open man.
And that's a very veteran job of a sophomore in Noden Tracy of finding an area that he saw was open, leaving his route because he knew it was zone coverage. And if you're standing in a wide open spot, just stay there in zone coverage, able to make himself a secure spot for Capaldi to go when he was in distress.
1st and 10 from the Georgetown 42. First reception of the game for the sophomore Noden Tracy. Hand off to Luffridge. Not a ton of space up the middle. And quickly whistled dead.
Not sure what happened on that play, whether there's no flags on the field. Maybe the referee didn't signal that the ball could be snapped yet, but the play was whistled dead long before Luffridge hit the ground.
The referees will discuss between both lines.
Prior to the snap, instant replay communicated with us they wanted to review the prior play. Previous play is in the field of review.
The referees informing us that instant replay called down. They want to look at that last play, and my guess would be Capaldi scrambling to his right there. They want to make sure he's behind the line of scrimmage when he makes that throw.
Right, I didn't notice that, but he was advancing forward, creeping forward just a little bit the entire time, Lou, until he finally made that pass very late on.
Fordham leading 7-0 over Georgetown. Final 3 minutes in the first quarter, and as the referees take a second to look at that last play of completion of Noden Tracy, let's send it down to the 3rd member of our broadcast crew, Annabelle Watson, down along the sidelines. Hey, Annabelle.
Hey, Lou. Good crowds here for both Fordham and Georgetown today, despite this game being pretty non-consequential. As always, Captain Mekhi Felton is bringing the energy, standing on the bench, hyping up his defense for those important stops. A lot of congrats to Julius. Oh, and I think we have a ruling on the play there. Go back to you, Lou.
Thank you for that. And it appears as if the call going to stand, so Capaldi made the throw behind the line of scrimmage. The catch stands for Noden Tracy, a 29-yard reception, the longest of his career, and Fordham 1st and 10 from the Georgetown 42.
And impressive that Capaldi was able to stay behind the line. He had a lot of room to run.
Clock ticks under 3 minutes. Capaldi in the gun. Play fake. Throws quickly right side. That pass leaped and tipped up by the corner along the near sideline.
Looking for Cole Thornton there again. Couldn't find him. Kaluba Pee-wee Jr., the cornerback in coverage right there, 21 tackles. He actually redshirted at Maine in the CAA back in 2021, now playing good for the Hoyas today.
Local product from Staten Island, went to high school in Tottenville, gets the pass break up, sets up 2nd and 10. Low snap, Capaldi handles, looking left, throws deep left side, incomplete, underthrows Cole Thornton. Evan, you think maybe you want a flag there? We've also got an injured man in the secondary, and that looks Zaid Aziz, who was in coverage there on the go route.
Yeah, they teach you here as a wide receiver to stack the corner and make sure he's directly behind you. So if the ball is slightly underthrown, now you're jumping back into the cornerback. He has to turn his head around, or else that's by rule a pass interference. I didn't see the head get turned around there, but we don't see a flag either, Lou. Tough break for the Rams.
And that's one where if Capaldi gives the full juice, Thornton maybe has a chance to go up and grab that one. For the second time in a row, you see Fordham go deep and just a tick underthrown. And honestly, both times it's almost put Georgetown in jeopardy of getting called for pass interference.
Right, expect Fordham to just keep going back at it. It's not like the previous games we've seen where Capaldi throws the ball out of bounds. It's about 15 or 20 yards underthrown, and it looks like they have no hope of the downfield passing game. These passes look like they're 1 yard, 1 second away from being really game-changing plays. So expect Fordham to keep going with this downfield attack against a bruised Georgetown secondary.
And a bruised Georgetown secondary that could potentially get even more bruised here as they take an injury timeout to check on the safety, Zaid Aziz. I think it's one that gives you a little bit of pause, makes you scared, because he started to hop on 1 foot at the end of that play, and there didn't seem to be a ton of contact. And you always know the stigma and the fear with non-contact injuries that it's some type of muscle tear. Aziz seems to be walking back to the bench, but with a lot of pain and a lot of trouble.
And Aziz would be a major loss for them. He's got 35 tackles on the season, tied with teammate Quincy Briggs, and 3rd in the Patriot League with 8 pass breakups. So he's a master at getting the ball out of the air like he just did.
Aziz has really helped Georgetown replace Jaden Duggar, who was an all-conference safety for Georgetown last year, ended up transferring to Louisiana. After the incompletion and the injury timeout, 3rd and 10, 2:39 left in the first. Capaldi has trips left. Pressure coming from the near side. Play fake. Capaldi throws over the middle. Head-high catch. Cole Thornton has the first down and brought down at the 25-yard line. 3rd reception of the day for Cole Thornton.
We've mentioned Cole Thornton looking like the true number 1. It's being solidified here in this game as they seem to turn their head to number 6 every time they need a big play.
2:20 left in the first. Fordham at the Georgetown 25, looking to add to a 7-0 lead. Thornton, 3 receptions, 68 yards, and we're not done with the first quarter yet. Capaldi hands off to Luffridge, takes it wide left, stiff arms a man past the line of scrimmage, takes the defender up to the 20-yard line. Tough running from Julius Luffridge.
Very important run there on that first down to set up only a 2nd and 5. We know Fordham has been struggling once they get down to this red zone area, so you love to see them being comfortable running the ball with number 15 when they get down there.
Talked to Conlon about the red zone philosophy. He said you're starting to see teams switch away from their base defense later and later, deeper and deeper. Minute 30 left in the first. 2nd and 5. Play fake, throw over the middle, diving grab. Ricky Gonzalez has the first down. He's inside the 5.
Well, this Hoyas defense that's advertised as the 2nd best against the pass in the Patriot League really hasn't shown it today. A couple of pass breakups that could have been flags, could have gone either way. And Ricky Gonzalez and Cole Thornton seem to be eating up these corners early on.
Fordham once again finds themselves knocking on the door of the goal line. 1st and goal from the 5, the final minute of the first quarter. Capaldi takes the snap. Read option, keeps it right. Nowhere to go. He's brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Swarmed by Georgetown that time. They were not fooled.
And we know the read option is a play that they like to run when they get down into short yardage territories. Been a controversial play in those situations as well. There's been a couple big fourth downs, a couple big goal line stands where the read option hasn't worked. We see that yet again here.
Capaldi met behind the line of scrimmage, but able to get back to the line of scrimmage for no gain. Final 25 seconds, 2nd and goal from the 5. Capaldi has a receiver either side. Play fake, roll out right, throws on the run, incomplete. Threw it behind Matt Buron in the end zone. Set 3rd down.
And there's that stretching the defense left and right when you're in the red zone. There's no room to stretch them north and south because of the back end of the end zone that really acts like another defender. So offenses really like to have their quarterbacks roll out right and left to stretch defenses that way. That time the Georgia Hoyas defense all in man coverage, no one letting their receiver get an inch of separation.
14 seconds left in the first, 3rd and goal from the 5. Fordham looking to capitalize on a deep red zone trip. Luffridge to the right of Capaldi. Tight end motions to the right. Capaldi the snap, looking to throw. Looks over the middle, throws it right side. Jeff Ciccio, head-high catch in the end zone. Touchdown Fordham. They take a 2-score lead with 8 seconds left in the first.
Jeff Ciccio, his first touchdown on the season now. His 5th reception hasn't been a major factor in this offense, but he is out here today getting 6 points on the board. These are exactly the types of guys you want to see play well in these later games for Fordham in this season where they can't win the league title anymore. Jeff Ciccio been a member of this team since the 2019 season. Good to see him going out with a touchdown right there.
The 5th receiving touchdown of his lengthy Fordham career. Gives Fordham a 13-0 lead, and here's the extra point. Snap kicks on its way, and perfect again by Henderson. How about this start for the Fordham Rams, off to a 14-0 lead with 8 seconds left. First the score by Luffridge, now the passing touchdown, Capaldi to Jeff Ciccio.
And Coach Conlon mentioned they're finally starting to get the tight ends involved. That becomes a massive difference when you get down in the red zone, when there's a massive 6'5" Jeff Ciccio against a linebacker that's 4 inches shorter, against a cornerback that's 50 pounds less, creates a major mismatch in the end zone. Good to see Fordham finally execute in the red zone twice to start today.
Just 8 seconds away from the one-on-one scoreboard update. Evan talked about Georgetown playing man there. That time Fordham able to beat them with a crossing pattern. Jeff Ciccio, maybe not the fastest receiver on the team, but certainly had the step there and made a nice contested catch.
Yeah, that was all the body right there of Jeff Ciccio. I mentioned the size, 6'5", 235 pounds. There's a lot of room to fit a football in with somebody that big, and that's exactly what Jack Capaldi did.
This is Fordham's best start to a game all season long. A 14-0 lead here at the close of the first quarter. Henderson on for the ensuing kickoff. The Rams looking to close out Patriot League play on a high note. Kicks away, end over end on the far side. Fielded at the 5-yard line by Ian Arebe. Jukes right, past the 15 up to the 20-yard line. Tackled with 2 seconds left at the 21.
And there's a Ian Arebe we're used to seeing on kick returns. Makes a couple of men miss and gets upfield, not like the last one we saw where he had to jump on top of the football to save it from the Fordham Rams.
One play for Georgetown, and is this a weird spot for an offense to be in? One play before the quarter, or not really?
I don't think really before the quarter ends. They're just going to switch fields, be heading in the other direction. Should see just a typical play here they'd run on any first down.
1st and 10 from the 22, the final 2 seconds. It's Kearney in the backfield with Lauder. Lauder, play fake, throws the screen, one-handed grab by McCormick, pulls it down, and only gets back to the line of scrimmage. But a pretty nice catch there by the tight end.
Looked like a rebound there for the tight end, going up with one hand, turning his wrist the other way, and catching the football. Impressive athletic grab.
That brings an end to our first quarter, and it's the Fordham Rams up 14-0. Touchdowns from Luffridge and Ciccio. With that, we send it back to the Rose Hill Studios. Naomi Ray, the one-on-one scoreboard update.
The one-on-one scoreboard. Some A10 hoops and Patriot League football action tonight, plus a look at the New York sports scene. Let's dive in. Out in the Midwest, Northwestern is taking on Ohio State at Wrigley Field. Ohio State is up by 14 with a score of 21-7 at halftime. The Toronto Raptors head to Boston for an 8 p.m. tip-off against the Celtics, while the Lakers face a road game against the New Orleans Pelicans at 8 p.m. Down in Alabama, the Crimson Tide host the Mercer Bears at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Over in the NHL, the Bruins are hosting the St. Louis Blues at TD Garden. The Bruins are up by 1 with a score of 2-1. In New York sports, the Islanders go against the Seattle Kraken at 4 p.m. Richmond is facing off against Bucknell in A10 hoops. Richmond up by 5 points with a score of 48-43 in the second half. Stay tuned for more scores and highlights. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Naomi Ray.
Blue Orlando, Evan Harkin, one quarter of play in the books. Fordham Football versus Georgetown and Evan. Haven't seen much starts like this season for the Rams. Up 14-0, 2 touchdowns. Luffridge and Cicio to take an early 2-score lead. And a key difference feels like the red zone offense. Last week, 3 trips to the red zone. They come away with 3 points. This week, after Coach Conlon said to us, we just can't reinvent the wheel when we get there. 2 touchdowns, 2 for 2 successful trips.
It makes you think, what would the Bucknell game look like if Fordham was able to turn their first 2 red zone trips into 14 points last week? Probably would have been a complete different game and a Fordham W. Today, Fordham looking at that film, seeing what they needed to fix, and they've fixed it so far, turning those first 2 opening drives into 14 points. It's going to be a massive difference throughout the rest of this game, especially sitting 2 scores ahead of the Hoyas right now, starting the second quarter.
And I think a credit to the leaders in this locker room. You hear Annabelle talk about Mekhi Felton on the sidelines, even through some of his injury battles, week in and week out, keeping this team locked in and engaged. We can't emphasize enough, this season started about as demoralizing as it could for the Rams. You get blown out by Bowling Green. It felt like every week in the non-con, loss after loss, and each loss tougher to digest. You get into conference play, and it's 1-score losses to Lafayette and Holy Cross. Your playoff hopes essentially die right away, and this team has stayed locked in. They stayed engaged, and frankly, they've gotten better and better as the season has gone along, which is a testament to them staying engaged.
And I've talked to other coaches here at Fordham, and they mentioned it's really been injuries that's really been killing the Fordham football team. They said if their 2 best players on either side of the ball got hurt, their team would be pretty bad as well. C.J. Montez and James Conway not available for most of this season. That'll end up with a poor record at the back end.
I think New York football fans know, even in the NFL, good quarterback can make or break a lot for your team's success. Georgetown will start the second quarter, 2nd and 10 after the completion for no gain to the tight end Max McCormick. The field flips, Georgetown moving left to right. Here's the snap, and it's capped by Lauder, but Mike Courtney all over it. And that time, a loss of 1. Courtney flying in lays a big hit.
And Courtney hits the Joker. Why so serious? Celebration to the sideline afterwards. A massive hit right there, really spiking up the energy as James Conway gives him a headbutt when he gets back to his position.
Fordham defense was brilliant the 2 times they were tested in the first quarter. And here, 3rd down 11, a chance to force a 3-and-out. Lauder in the gun. Savion Hart to his right, 2 receivers up top. Fordham sends pressure. Courtney blitzing up the middle. Lauder brought down by Courtney. Blitz right up the gut. 2 big tackles by Mike Courtney on 2nd and 3rd down. And Georgetown going to have to punt from inside their own 20.
And that defense is fired up right now, as it should be. There's a difference between when James Conway and Mike Courtney make big plays for the rest of this team than when other guys make big plays. It really just spikes up their intensity as Coach Ryan Greenhagen runs on the field to give him a chest bump after that drive.
Mike Courtney, 5th in the Patriot League in tackles right now. You can't undervalue and understate the job he's done in the wake of James Conway's injury. Patrick Ryan gets the punt away. Bounces in Georgetown territory, takes the roll into Fordham territory at the 46. Conway, limited to just 4 games this season. He missed all of non-con play. He and the coaches came to agreement you can play in 4 games, you retain your medical red shirt. So Conway, using the last of his 4 games today, he's played primarily at home this season. Courtney has appeared in every game, and he has shouldered the load in that second level.
And Lou, you've described James Conway to me before as an energizer bunny, and I think that's the perfect way to describe the way that him and Mike Courtney both run around the football field. It really just ignites the rest of the defense when you see that much aggression and energy turning into results and good execution.
I think what was so impressive about last week, yes, Bucknell puts up 28, but especially you held them down in the rushing game. The splits between the defense when Conway played and when he didn't was stark. Over 40 points allowed per game when he didn't play, almost under 20 when he did. And that time against Bucknell, the late touchdown gives him 28 points. But Evan, you and I watching that, the eye test, Fordham defensively passed it.
Right, James Conway just seems to be in the right spot at all times, but even when he wasn't on the field, like last week against Bucknell, Mike Courtney, Jackson Barletta filling that hole, filling his spots. The young linebacker Jalen Dawson, a young freshman right below him in that depth chart. When he comes in, a lot of raw talent just needs to be chiseled down and perfected into a veteran linebacker, which will happen with time. But it comes down to those older guys stepping up around him, which they did in that last game, Barletta and Courtney.
It's so cool to talk to the linebackers and also outside linebackers coach Ryan Greenhagen, and we got the chance to catch up with him on Thursday, knowing that Conway had tied his record, was going for the Patriot League record. When Greenhagen graduated, he had the Fordham and the Patriot League record. Dobbs set the Patriot League record the following year. But getting to talk to Greenhagen, not just about what makes Conway great as a player, but what makes him great as a person. One of the things was the leadership, and he said it's so cool to see how he's evolved as a leader, becoming more vocal. It's something he's put a lot of work into, to the point where Coach Collins able to say to a freshman like Jalen Dawson, hey, follow around James Conway. He'll show you the ropes and just do whatever he does. Coach Greenhagen said, I promise you it's going to pay dividends. I think you're seeing it in the flashes we see from this unit when Conway's out.
Absolutely, and we tried to give Greenhagen credit for that, for what he was doing to Conway. He said, that's none of me, that's all Conway. He came up to me first and said, hey, I want to follow you around. I want to do what you do before and after practice, and it's really worked out. But like you're saying, Conway just infectious on the rest of that team. He shows younger linebackers, Nick Pascarella, Jalen Dawson, what it truly means to be a Fordham linebacker coming out of that lineage. Glenn Cunningham, Ryan Greenhagen, now James Conway. Those are some big cleats to fill if you want to play linebacker here in the Bronx.
Perhaps a little FCS linebacker U here in the Bronx. It's been a pretty good run here for the Rams. The offense back at it from their own 48, opening minute and a half of the second quarter. Capaldi, play fake. Unloads, deep right side. Noden Tracy, leaping grab inside the 15. He's toppled over but makes the catch. Second big grab of the game for the sophomore.
Well, Noden Tracy, we were wondering what's been going on with him this season. Saw a lot of glimpses of him being really good in his freshman campaign, expecting a breakout sophomore year. Came into this game with only 5 receptions, under 50 yards, but has been a major factor now with 2 deep receptions.
Yeah, he has shattered his previous career highs. 2 receptions, 69 yards. 1st and 10 from the 12. Capaldi, play fake, throw over the middle, incomplete. Had Felton on the screen, had the step. Throw just out of reach.
And the referees today on both sides of the ball, so at least it's fair, but they're letting the corners get away with a lot of hand playing. Even on that catch to Noden Tracy, you could see some jersey pulling. Makai Felton turns around to the referees and throws his hand up after that one. So the referees letting the cornerbacks be physical.
Physical play by the safety DeAndre Harris. 2nd down and 10 from the 12. Capaldi has trips left. Capaldi keeps it right side, eyeing the sidelines, goes out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Only a gain of 1 as Cooper Blomstrom closed the gap quickly.
Cooper Blomstrom been a great player this season for the Hoyas, but this is going to be a massive 3rd down here for the Fordham Rams. 3rd and 9 here in the red zone where they've struggled before this game. Can they pull out another major red zone execution here?
Fordham's 3rd red zone trip of the game. They are 2 for 2 so far. 3rd down and 9 from the 11. Trips left. Capaldi looks left, throws left. Ricky Gonzalez, it's incomplete. He had him open. Capaldi just missed him.
And the play was perfect right there. They see man coverage. They run rub routes, which work a lot near the end zone. That's when other receivers are somewhat setting basketball screen-esque screens on defenders, allowing a receiver to get open by himself. Gonzalez is wide open. Capaldi just unable to connect, and that'll send out Bennett Henderson.
The ball lined up on the far hash. This is a 28-yarder for the freshman. He is perfect inside 30 this season. Snap, the spot, the kick is on its way. Flags fly. Henderson bangs it home. Looks like Georgetown may have jumped early.
They might have also ran into the kicker there as multiple flags fly at different times, so we'll see if the referees saw two different penalties.
Henderson gets caught up by that attempted block at the end there. You make a good point, and if that is running into the kicker, could be a free first down. We'll see what the referees have to say. They're looking towards Coach Conlon. I think he just made a decline sign.
The 2 fouls on the play, both on the defense. Offside, number 1, penalty is declined. Running into the kicker, number 1. The penalty is also declined. Point for good.
They decline both penalties, and big difference between roughing the kicker and running into the kicker. Running into the kicker is just a distance penalty, and evidently Fordham maybe didn't want to go for it on 4th and 4, so they just take the field goal.
Right, you only get 5 yards for running. There's a difference between running and roughing. That time didn't run through Bennett Henderson, just happened to touch him. So it would have been, like you're saying, Lou, a 4th and 5. Coach Conlon electing to just take those points anyway, which is a characteristic he hasn't had all season long, as Fordham's been the most aggressive team in the country on 4th down.
Got a little sidetrack there, but Henderson makes the field goal. Fordham up 17-0, their largest lead of the season, with 12:09 left in the first half. Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin, our Silence reporter, Annabelle Watson. You're listening to Fordham Football on 90.7 FM.
How's it going, everyone? Will Talent here, your New York Giants beat reporter for the 2024 season. Follow alongside me at talent_Will on X to catch all of the updates on your New York Football Giants from MetLife Stadium. With rookie sensation Malik Neighbors and big free agent acquisition Brian Burns, WFUV Sports is the place for Big Blue coverage. WFUV, your home for New York sports.
Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin are on site. Jack Warner, Fordham leading 17-0 with 12:09 left in the first half, and this Fordham offense is moving like we quite haven't seen it at all this season. The deep passing game working to perfection. A big grab from Noden Tracy sets up that field goal. They're just moving with ease.
Fordham offense firing on all cylinders right now, and you look at every single category, Fordham seems to have the advantage. Rushing yards, passing yards. They've got 157 passing yards right now, in the second quarter just started. That's not very 2024 Fordham-esque, but we've seen Jack Capaldi look more and more comfortable, more and more ready to start seemingly every single game since he has. So maybe finally seeing Capaldi feel comfortable in that offense and what that talent can really turn into.
Jack Capaldi, 8 of 15 for 157 yards. 163.3 QBR. That's coming off a career-high 310 passing yards and 2 touchdowns against Bucknell. Kicks away from Henderson, end over end to the near side. Fielded at the 2-yard line. Inaribe spins at the 18-yard line, tripped up by Mike Courtney. And Georgetown will start this drive just inside their own 20.
And what do you know? Of course, Mike Courtney was down there to make that tackle. He's been flying around the football field today. But this Hoya offense going to look to finally get something going. They've been really good up front all season long. Only 8 sacks allowed. That's second in the Patriot League. Just haven't been able to get that offense rolling yet, Lou.
Fordham outpossessing them. This Georgetown offense, Lauder 3 of 7. He's been sacked twice. Lauder stands in the gun. Hands off to Cox. That play blown up. Flying into the backfield. Mike Courtney and co. Looks like Sam Burkle as well. Either way, loss of 3 and a big statement on first down.
Fordham been owning the rushing attack, both offensively and defensively. We knew Georgetown had the second worst rushing attack in the Patriot League coming into this one, and it's showing.
2nd and 13 after the big play by Robinson and Courtney. Lauder's in empty as Cox motions to the far sideline. 11.5 to play in the half. Lauder scrambles to his left, but can't get out of the arms of Sam Burkle. Makes the tackle off the right defensive end. Lauder only able to pick up 1, and it's 3rd and long.
Sam Burkle been dominant all season long. Gets a little overshadowed by Matt Jaworski in the season he's been having, but 34 tackles, now 6.5 tackles for loss. He's been dominant as well inside.
Phil Steele, first-team All-Patriot League preseason selection, was called the best interior defensive lineman in the Patriot League by Hero Sports. 3rd down 11. Clock dips under 11 minutes here in the first half. Lauder with trips right. Back to throw. Looking to his right. Throws right. And brought in. Dunneman makes the catch at the 33. Takes a hit out of bounds, but gets the first down.
Well, Dunneman, that's a beautiful route right there. You're taught to run right around the sticks. You want to get a first down. You really throw the route depth you were told out the window and go for the sticks there. That's exactly what he did. Picks up a massive first.
This looks like Jacob Holtschlag in the gun for 1st and 10 from the 33. Takes the snap and hands it off to Kearney. Kearney runs right, and no space on the left end, only able to pick up 1. Peter Shaloub in the vicinity.
Interesting to see Holtschlag in there right now. You wonder about Lauder's health. This isn't a team that runs the dual quarterback thing that we've seen other teams run that Fordham's played. Only 1 for 4 with 1 interception is Holtschlag on the season.
2nd down and 9. Clock tipping under 10 minutes here in the first half. Holtschlag and empty. 3 up top, 2 down low. Looks left, throws left. Has a man at the 40-yard line. Ripped around and down. As that's number 12, Keenan Richardson Cook. Sets up 3rd down and 3.
Holtschlag able to find an open receiver there underneath. Fordham might want to come up and play a little bit more man, a little bit more press, send some pressure at a quarterback that really hasn't been out there all season long.
3rd down and 2 at the 41-yard line. Holtschlag claps. There's a flinch and a false start on the offense. That is a critical error by Georgetown.
It is, and Holtschlag looking at his sideline, wondering what went wrong as he gets the news from the referees.
So from 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 7. Clock continues to run. 9:03 and ticking. Holtschlag stays out there for the 3rd down snap, and we'll keep tabs on Danny Lauder, who started this game. Play resumes. Georgetown backed up to their own 36. 3rd down and 7. 8:45 left in the half. Georgetown trailing 17-0. Snap. Looking left. Throws left. Has Dunneman past the sticks. Perkins will drag him down, but not before Georgetown keeps this drive alive.
Holtschlag looking very comfortable for a quarterback that came into this game only throwing 4 passes and completing 1 for 4 yards on the entire season. That's back-to-back completions right there.
Massachusetts product. His dad and uncle both played college football in the Ivy League. First down at the 45-yard line, pistol formation for Georgetown. Play fake. Holtschlag looking to go deep. Unloads over the middle. And brought in. Shy of the goal line, but the slide and grab by Cam Pygott at the 5-yard line. He was draped by Alex Kemper and still made the basket catch.
Cam Pygott using his body to his advantage right there. He boxes out Kemper as we see a flag fly. And it'll be a roughing the passer call against the Fordham defense, so that'll add 15 yards to the end of that play. A nightmare for the Rams, Lou.
Sequence of errors and mistakes there by this Fordham defense. This is going to put Georgetown at minimum inside the 5-yard line. Their first trip inside the goal line, or inside the red zone rather. Fordham not only allows the deep bomb, called for roughing the passer, and rarely do you see roughing the passer decline, but when you have a big 50-plus yard reception, you have the freedom to decline that penalty. So Georgetown, first and goal from the 3. Holtschlag hands off to Kearney, takes it left, no space, stuffed off the left edge.
And that's Matt Jaworski's edge right there, not letting anything get outside. You're taught contain in the run game as a defensive end, funnel everything back inside. Exactly what big number 34 does on that play.
Georgetown trailing 17-0. They're looking to get on the board for the first time today. Jacob Holtschlag entering and replacing Danny Lauder has led the Hoyas deep into Fordham territory. Second and goal from the 4 after the loss of 1. Holtschlag to throw, looking left, steps up to run, up the middle, takes the defender, spins around, he's shy. Brought down in between the 1 and the 2-yard line.
Good coverage there from the Fordham Rams, all in man coverage here on the goal line. They lock up all of their receivers and force Holtschlag to run right into big number Claudie Robinson. 320 pounds waiting for you is not a formula to get into the end zone.
6.5 to play in quarter number 2. This will be third and goal from the 2. Likely 4-down territory for Georgetown, trailing 3 scores. So it's Holtschlag in the gun, Cox to his right, and only 1 receiver in the formation. Snap, handoff Cox, leaps up, extends for the end zone. He didn't get there. Fordham gets the stop. It's 4th and inches, and decision time for the Hoyas.
And who was it but big number 48, James Conway and Jackson Barletta. They're both right there to reach over the top of the pile. The running back goes for the Saquon Barkley jump over the offensive and defensive line and into the end zone. James Conway says, not on my turf.
And they will send Patrick Ryan out for the chip shot field goal, so the Fordham defensive line holds strong and prevents what could have very easily been a touchdown by Bryce Cox. Here's Ryan's field goal, straight through the uprights. A 20-yarder for the senior kicker. Georgetown on the board, 17-3, with 5:22 left in the half.
Well, a mixture to win football games, a lot of coaches will tell you, Lou, is win the red zone battle, score when you're in the red zone, 6 points, make those touchdowns, limit the other team to 3 points when they get down in that red zone. If you can, you want to hold them to 0, but a mixture that Fordham is doing well so far in this one.
Georgetown on the scoreboard. Fordham still leading by 14. 5:22 left in the first half. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Ben Oppenheimer reminding you to tune in to New York's longest-running sports call-in show, One-on-One. Catch One-on-One live on the WFUV Sports YouTube channel every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then later on 90.7 FM from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. We'll catch you next Saturday on One-on-One.
Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin, and we bring in the third member of our broadcast crew, Annabelle Watson. What's going on down there?
Thanks, Lou. After Jeff Cicio's touchdown in the first quarter, Coach Jake Petrarca and teammates greeted him with hugs and congratulations. Definitely a meaningful touchdown for him, being a 5-year veteran of this Fordham team. On those big Mike Courtney plays, Coach Ryan Greenhagen was super hyped up. As Evan mentioned, a lot of jumping and fists in the air from him. This defense looks to continue the success of this first half, getting that huge stop on that Georgetown drive. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Annabelle. A goal line stand by this Fordham defense, and a pretty tough one. Georgetown gets the ball at the 3-yard line, first and goal from the 3, and that Fordham defensive line really set the tone. That loss of 1 on the handoff to Kearney, and then the stuff of Cox as he tried to leap over the line and get into the end zone.
And those are the best types of stuffs for a defense. When you do it against the run game, when you know the offense is just going to try to test your aggression, test your physicality, and run right through you into the end zone, and you push back and don't allow that, especially on Fordham's home turf. So a massive momentum-changing play right there on that third down.
Well, hot to go. Playing just a second ago here at Jack Coffey Field. Right now, both the offense and the defense red hot for the Fordham Rams. It's translated to a 17-3 lead with 5:22 left in halftime, or left in the first half. A Fordham offense getting the ball back. Like so often earlier in the season, it was an offense that never helped out their defense. Even in some of the tougher games, the defense would have shining moments. That is a trend that has seemingly been bucked so far today. Anderson's kick, line drive, bounces at the 15 and rolls out of bounds. Penalty for kicking out of bounds, and Evan, feel like we see one of those every game.
Yeah, here at Moglia Stadium, they might have to separate the sidelines a little bit more. It seems to happen more at Fordham's home stadium than when they're away. But that time, uncharacteristic from a very good punter, kicker, place kicker, kickoff guy. He really does it all for this team in Patrick Ryan. But Fordham will start in great field position, heading the other way on their own 35.
And the key to their success has been the long ball. A 41-yard catch by Cole Thornton. A 40-yard catch by the sophomore Noden Tracy. Noden Tracy, 2 receptions, 69 yards. That shatters his previous career highs. Fordham 1st and 10 from the 35, already leading by 14. A chance to make that lead even greater going into halftime. Handoff to Luffridge, running left, takes it up, carrying a defender to the 40, spinning forward, and brought down at the 42-yard line.
There's Julius Luffridge's signature move. It's a makeshift spin move that also has a stiff arm and a truck involved. He really just runs into a defender, spins once the contact happens, and then fights them off with his offhand and keeps running, basically treating them like little kids.
2nd down and 3, as Luffridge averaging 7 yards per carry on 5 attempts so far. Capaldi has trips to the right. Ball placed at the Fordham 42. Snap, handoff to Luffridge, runs off right tackle, and he's loose past midfield, past the 45. Brought down with a big hit at the Georgetown 40. But Julius Luffridge breaking free into open space and takes Fordham into Georgetown territory.
Flying around the open grass that time was Julius Luffridge. He takes a massive hit at the end, one that he didn't see coming, but gets right back up and stands next to Capaldi as they set back up very quickly.
1st and 10 from the 41, as Luffridge over 50 yards today on the ground. Here's a flag, false start with 4:09 left in the first half. Now it'll be Cole Thornton over on the far side.
And offensive coordinator Artie Aselta really hates when wide receivers commit those false starts because he tells them you weren't even supposed to be listening to the clap. You were supposed to be looking at the football. So you really have no excuse to go offsides there. Cole Thornton, a guy who knows that, uncharacteristic from him.
1st and 15 at the 46 now. The Rams still in Georgetown territory after the false start. Snap, Capaldi back to throw. Looks middle, throws right side. Coming back to the football, Jacob Rodriguez can't make the play. A little bit of a wonky throw by Capaldi.
And that would have been a big-time play. Could have been a touchdown if Capaldi was able to keep his feet under him, not see that pass rush coming and loft it downfield. Rodriguez was wide open, but he gets underthrown by about 10 yards because Capaldi had pressure in his face.
Rodriguez, returning from injury, has immediately become the Rams' number 2 running back behind Luffridge. Luffridge today, 6 carries, 52 yards, now 8.7 per attempt. He takes a breather here. It's Rodriguez to the left of Capaldi, 2nd and 15. Just 2 on the play clock, and Fordham not going to be able to get it off in time. The flag flies, and that one looks disjointed from the start. Fordham has now lost 10 yards on a false start and a play clock violation.
We mentioned, Lou, this was a Fordham offense we weren't used to seeing, converting in the red zone, dominating early in the game. This is the Fordham offense we're used to seeing, ending up double behind the sticks right now in a 2nd and 20 scenario.
2nd down and 20. Now on their own side of the field. Capaldi looking left, throws it deep left side, and intercepted. Did he get the foot in? No, he did not. Number 23, Braylon Wise, one of the starting cornerbacks for this Georgetown team, and miscommunication on the route between Mekhi Felton and Capaldi.
And Braylon Wise wishes he had that one back. Mekhi Felton had no idea where the football was. There was no one contesting Wise catching that football. Just had to keep 1 foot in bounds where he caught the ball, unable to do that. And a lucky break for Capaldi and Fordham as they still have the football.
3rd down and 20 at their own 49, 3.5 to play. And now more whistles. This time the ref signaled timeout. They're going to review this one at the college level. You only need to get 1 foot in. That one seemed pretty close, Ev.
Seemed like there was a chance he had 1 foot in. There's definitely a large possibility you could stop a camera on an exact frame where you see 1 foot in and the other foot up and not out of bounds. So we'll see what the referees say in this one. You don't usually see calls be overturned in the Patriot League, Lou. There used to be jokes that the video's on an iPhone 4S. That's what the Fordham offensive coordinator's coaching staff used to say about it. But we'll see if they turn this one around.
Yes, it's not quite Power 5 football technology, but Jack Capaldi, one of the big issues this season in taking the reins over from an injured C.J. Montez has been the accuracy and the interceptions. Jack Capaldi at this stage of the season, 6 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. If this gets overturned, it would be 8.
Yeah, big part of Jack Capaldi's game that hasn't been working for him is turnovers. We asked Coach Conlon, is Jack's last game the best game you've seen him play? He said yes, but except for those turnovers, you can't put the ball on the ground and you can't just throw the ball up when you're in a panic situation and give it to the other team. That time he didn't do either of those. It was simply a miscommunication between him and the receiver, but nevertheless, you cannot gift the other team possessions.
The referee trying to make the call. The mic gives out, but it appears Georgetown interception, the play overturned, and that is the victim of the deep choice game when you're not on the same page.
Absolutely. When you're relying on that deep ball to move your offense, it can result in turnovers, and we'll see if the Hoyas can capitalize, because we know that's really the theme that matters when you turn the ball over. Can you score off of it?
Fordham offense predicated on the wide receivers choosing their routes. Capaldi not on the same page with Felton, and his first interception of the game. Georgetown takes over from their own 23. Holtschlag throws right side and incomplete. Shaloub dove, tried to tip the throw. I don't think it got tipped, but either way, Dunneman couldn't make the catch.
And Mike Courtney firing like a rocket that time through Holtschlag right there, forcing him to throw that football anywhere he could so he didn't take the sack.
2nd down and 10, 3:33 to play in the second. James Conway, the middle of this defense, 4 tackles, 3 shy of tying the Patriot League record. Snap, Holtschlag going deep near side, wants Pygott. Pygott goes up, and incomplete, had his hands on the football. Ball came out on the way down. Alex Kemper and Boogie Owens in coverage.
Well, Cam Pygott has been fantastic at catching the ball at its highest point. The jump ball catch today, that would have been the second time he got one up over the head of Alex Kemper, who was in good position. That time, Kemper does a great job of squeezing him to the sideline, giving him no room to get those 2 feet in bounds.
The Fordham defense looking to get the offense the ball right back after the Capaldi interception. Holtschlag in the gun. Has Cox in the backfield, 3 receivers and a tight end.
Late substitution for Fordham. They seem a little confused right now.
Fordham putting 6 on the line. One of them is Conway. Here's the snap, and the play waved off. Timeout Georgetown as they use their first.
And it seems the confusion that I thought was from Fordham actually turned into Georgetown being confused at the look they saw. Seemed like there were a lot of Rams stacked in that box ready to come send the pressure at Holtschlag.
It seems like for defensive coordinator Alan Gant, that has been the motive of attack today on 3rd and long. Send pressure and get to the cornerback. And at least so far, it's worked.
And they saw last week against Bucknell, Ralph Rucker IV, who had an outstanding game. Coach Conlon pointed to that, but that he was able to stand in the pocket even when he saw pressure, was able to evade it, and that resulted in the Bucknell Bison hurting the Rams defensively. The Rams taking a page out of their own book and saying, not this game, we're sending everybody, making sure the other team's quarterback feels the pressure on 3rd and long.
3rd down and 10, 3:26 left in the second quarter. Georgetown at the Fordham 23, sitting at their own 23, trailing by 14. Fordham stacking the line once again. Here comes the pressure. Holtzschlag back to throw and just skips it at the feet of Bryce Cox. Matt Jaworski, Peter Shaloub quickly into the backfield, and nothing Holtzschlag could do.
And the Rams look at the back judge right here and signal an intentional grounding call, but they won't get it right there. The referee points at Bryce Cox, who was right around the area, but that ball did not get back to the line of scrimmage. So lucky for Holtzschlag and the offense to not see a grounding due to Cox just happening to be around the football.
Patrick Ryan will stand inside his own 10-yard line. Fordham set up to get the ball back with 3.5 to play. Ryan gets the punt away. This is a strong one, forces Thornton back to the 30-yard line, bounces at the 33, takes the Fordham roll up to the 40-yard line. All things considered, pretty good field positioning here as the Rams once more have a chance to extend their lead going into halftime.
And the Rams defense stepping up and showing out for their offense yet again. They've done it pretty much all season long, especially here at Moglia Stadium, giving their offense a chance after they make a mistake.
Once again, it's really strong play in the D-line, not allowing that Georgetown rushing attack to get going, and then enough pressure there from your guys on the ends to make it difficult to pass the football.
And in the games Georgetown has lost, they were never able to get the rush going, had to rely on the pass the entire game.
Capaldi in the gun, his own 40-yard line. Hands off Luffridge. Stutter step up the middle, picks up 2 yards.
Nice little run in between the guards right there. The guards right now for the Fordham offensive line, Duke Leonard and Ryan Joyce. Good to see Duke Leonard back in that spot, dealing with some injuries, some issues moving up and down the depth chart, but has been starting there these past 2 games now in that left guard position.
2nd down and 8, the clock under 3 minutes here in the first half. Capaldi adjusts the play call. Snap, play fake, looking right, throws right side, incomplete. Cole Thornton shadowed all the way by Pee Wee Jr.
Junior all over that route right there. You see the referees still allowing cornerbacks to be very handsy with receivers. Cole Thornton throwing his hands up in the air as pretty much every Fordham receiver has after they run a route today.
Thornton will take a break on 3rd down, and Noden Tracy enters in his spot along the far sideline. 3rd and 8, 2.5 to play. Capaldi back to throw, 4-man rush. Scrambles to his left. Looking for a throw. Throws on the run. There's a flag. It's brought in by Tracy at the 41-yard line. Has the first down. And a flag all the way back at the Fordham 30.
Noden Tracy signals a first down, but he hasn't seen that flag yet. That's going to negate the first down he just caught.
The referee's discussing this one in Fordham territory. Man, Noden Tracy, he's come shot out of a can today. That's 3 big catches. We'll see if this one stands.
Personal foul. Illegal blindside block. Offensive 71. 15-yard penalty.
Now that is the second penalty on Owen Deutsch today, and it's a big one. Takes away a pretty cool play. Capaldi extending it, finds Tracy, and set a penalty that really moves Fordham back here.
And that's one of those penalties that's been changing in the game of football overall. It used to be if you see a face mask, if somebody's looking at you, you're allowed to crack back and hit them. They've taken that out of the game of football. They will call blocks in the backs, illegal blocks on anybody that turns back around and cracks someone heading in the opposite direction.
This is 3rd and 23. Fordham at their own 27-yard line. Capaldi with 3 receivers to his left and Luffridge in the backfield to his right. Handoff Luffridge, running left, cuts back up the middle, breaks 1 tackle. Blomstrom brings him down around the line of scrimmage. And Fordham will have to punt as the clock will run down to the 2-minute timeout.
And who else but Cooper Blomstrom right there, the superstar on this defense, the James Conway of the Georgetown defense. He's got 47 tackles on the season, 11 tackles for loss. That's up there amongst the leaders, and 13 QB hurries. Gets into the backfield all the time.
2 minutes left to play in the 2-minute timeout. Fordham leading 17-3, but it's Georgetown getting the football back, and they'll have a chance to cut this lead to 1 score in the final 2 minutes. Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin, you're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
Hey, it's Chaz McAdams here calling you to tune in to WFUV Sports One-on-One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. With hot takes covering all sports from the 5 boroughs and beyond, to interviews with some of the biggest names in sports media. We're live Saturdays on the WFUV Sports YouTube from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then later on 90.7 FM from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Come join us next Saturday for One-on-One.
Fordham Football and WFUV Sports, Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin, our sidelines reporter Annabelle Watson, our on-site Jack Warner. We're thrilled to bring you Fordham Football on WFUV Sports. Fordham leading Georgetown 17-3. The offense stalls out after a crucial penalty by Owen Deutsch. And who makes the tackle? None else but Cooper Blomstrom. A few weeks ago, this was a man leading the Patriot League in sacks. He still leads Georgetown 6.5 sacks, 13 quarterback pressures, 11 tackles for loss. That's all second in the Patriot League, trailing Jaworski in a couple of those categories, but that is a monster on the defensive end.
And the Hoyas play this type of defense where you only have 2 true linebackers. There's a safety hybrid, a star, a viper, whatever you want to call them, guys that can play safety in the box off the edge. So when you only have 2 true linebackers, you need them to be really good and cornerstones of your defense, and that's what the Hoyas have in Blomstrom and David Ely right next to him. Ely the third, 62 tackles. That's good for 10th in the Patriot League. Both of these guys weren't really a factor against Lehigh, stepping up here against Fordham this week.
Got on top of Blomstrom, a pair of pretty good linebackers in Ely and Giancarlo Rufo, a Hawaiian product. Georgetown, a team that has a few impact natives from Hawaii. 2 minutes left to play. Haslett going to have to punt just ahead of his own 10-yard line. A Georgetown offense that has struggled, looking to capitalize on one final drive. Haslett boots away, spiraling to the 37, and blown up by Walker Atkinson. Donovan makes the catch, didn't single fair catch, and Walker Atkinson a full head of steam, and a hit that gets the sideline and the crowd amped up.
Well, Lou, me and you joked earlier on in the season, what stats are they looking at to determine whether you're a preseason All-Patriot League long snapper or not? Is it just the time it takes you to snap the football? What really goes into that? And right now, Walker Atkinson is showing us why he deserved that honor right there. Second time this game, he's flew down the field, been the first one to make the tackle, and that time it's a massive momentum-changing one.
You think back to a few weeks ago against Holy Cross, he almost had a forced fumble and a touchdown, which was called back. This is the handoff. The Savian Hart running right and picks up 2. As Georgetown gets up to their own 40-yard line.
And James Conway right there, finding him and taking him down for the tackle. That's his 5th of the day so far. He's behind Mike Courtney with 7 of them. Still chasing history in terms of the Patriot League is Conway.
And now Conway too shy of tying Jacob Dobbs, who usurped Ryan Greenhagen for the Patriot League tackle lead last season. Jacob Dobbs spending his final season at JMU after a very successful career at Holy Cross. James Conway looking to leap past Greenhagen and Dobbs and become the greatest tackler in Patriot League history.
And you wonder, if you're Conway, do you whisper to your buddies next to you, Mike Courtney and Jackson Barletta, hey, let me make the tackle right here? Mike Courtney's been stealing a lot of them from him today. He's got 7 out here.
2nd down and 8. After the timeout by Fordham, 1:45 left in the half. Holtzschlag back to throw. Steps up. Scrambles by a defender. 45 past midfield. Has the first down as he gives himself up in Fordham territory at the 49.
Jacob Holtzschlag has looked very impressively comfortable, especially for a quarterback that really has not played at all at the collegiate level. Like I said, 4 passes thrown coming into this game, but he's looking all right out there.
1.5 minutes to play. Holtzschlag to throw again. Fires right side. Brought in along the sideline. Cam Pygott around the 36-yard line. Move the chains once again.
You wonder what's going on with Danny Lauder, the Georgetown Hoyas starter at quarterback. but still lucky that they have Holtschlag playing at a decent enough level to keep them competitive in this game.
Back-to-back positive plays from Holtschlag, one with his legs, one with his arm, has Georgetown up to the Fordham 36. Minute 21 to play, the clock stops as Pygott was out of bounds. Snap, play fake, pressure coming, throwing on the run, incomplete. Jaworski chasing Holtschlag down on the blind side, and Holtschlag just throws it behind McCormick.
Well, I was scared for Holtschlag right there, watching Matt Jaworski disengage from a block and track him down like a madman. Lucky for Holtschlag's case, because he didn't even see Jaworski coming. Got that ball out in time before he took a massive sack.
Minute 16 left in the first half. Fordham leads 17-3. It's Georgetown looking to get closer here before halftime. 2nd and 10. Holtschlag, play fake. Step up. Hit as he throws, but finds McCormick in the far side flat. McCormick up to the 31-yard line and out of bounds. Stops the clock with a minute 9.
Good throw and toughness there from Jacob Holtschlag. He gets a massive shot from Matt Jaworski. It's one of the bad ones when you're a quarterback and you're in that position where you just threw a pass. It's the reason for the player safety initiative today and not hitting quarterbacks too hard, because they're in very uncomfortable positions once they just throw the football to take a massive hit like Holtschlag just did, lay it out there and pick up 5 yards.
3rd down and 5 at the Fordham 31. Holtschlag looking to keep this drive alive. Snap, looks right side, finds Cox out of the backfield at the 40, hurdles a man and gets blown up by Courtney at the 30-yard line. He'll still be 4 short of the first down, and Mike Courtney a big hit as Cox hurdles.
And the entire crowd here at Moglia Stadium screaming, oh, a large gasp after that massive shot from Mike Courtney.
The clock stops with 53 seconds left. Timeout called by Georgetown. They will talk things over. 53 seconds left. They're at the 30-yard line. That's a 47-yarder for Patrick Ryan. His career long is 49. But trying to read the tea leaves here, feels like this is one where they're going to go for it, try and keep the drive alive.
There's a little bit of wind in their direction right now. You can see the American flag, the flags on top of the field goal posts all trending in that direction, so he could have some help behind him with the wind. But yet again, it's a tricky scenario. This is that spot on the football field where the analytics tell you to go for it, Lou.
This is a Fordham defense that has been so strong today when they've needed to be. You think back to that goal line stand a little bit earlier in the quarter, and now a chance to force a turnover on downs as the huddle out there for Georgetown is the offense.
And out there for the huddle, you see Danny Lauder with a hat on, no helmet. The helmet's in his hands, and he gets a little slight limp off the field. Not sure if he's dealing with an injury or anything, but definitely seems checked out, at least for the rest of this half.
Ball on the near side hash. 4th and 4, 53 seconds left. Holtschlag in the gun, 2 receivers either side, and Kearney to his left. Snap, and it's whistled dead, and now Fordham will call timeout right before the snap. Maybe a little gamesmanship, try and figure out what formation they're in.
Yeah, that's purposely as late of a timeout as it can possibly be, because you want to see as much as the receivers' routes, the offensive line's first steps, the quarterback's drop back as you possibly can. That's exactly what they're doing. Alan Gant is looking to see what they just ran and trying to see if they can capitalize off of what they now know.
Well, if you're Georgetown, what are you doing here, right? You've got a little bit of a spark from Holtschlag coming in. Your top receiver's been Pygott. Feels like Jimmy Kibble's been very quiet today, and the run game's been uneventful. What are you thinking?
Well, you disregard the clock in this scenario. There's still 1 timeout. There's 53 seconds. That's a lot more time than it sounds like in a football game. So you don't really worry about throwing the ball near the sideline or anything. You just go with the play that you think really works in these scenarios. Expect them to maybe go to one of these slot receivers on a linebacker right now.
4th and 4, Dunneman motions across, 2 receivers either side. Holtschlag to throw, looking middle, throws middle, incomplete. Dunneman had it in his hands, he dropped it. Alex Kemper, the closest defender in coverage. Evan, I think that's one Dunneman might want back. He had the first down.
Yeah, Dunneman with the ball in his hands right there. He looks at the ground and then back up to the sky to say to himself, how did I drop that one? Right after that, well, he dropped it because Alex Kemper made a pretty good play on the football, his first one of the day. There's been back-to-back plays where you say Kemper didn't really get up and make a difference in that pass. That time absolutely did in a massive moment, gives his offense the ball.
Turnover on downs, Fordham's second turnover on downs forced in this game. and they take over with 49 seconds left on their own 29. Real quick, how aggressive do they push here?
You don't really push aggressively for the Fordham Rams offense. I'd expect a couple rushing plays from Luffridge.
They're up 14. Snap, Capaldi to throw. Looking left, facing pressure, brought down, the ball flies out. A mad scrum around the 15-yard line. Referees signal that Fordham retains. But oh my goodness, flying in. Capaldi got absolutely lit up by David Ely II.
And Capaldi now limping, seems like he just got destroyed because he did. And that's the downside of going for it here in this scenario when the chances are low for you to come out with any points. You risk turnovers, injuries, all those bad things you don't want to finish off a good half of football with.
That's a loss of 12. Now they'll hand off to Luffridge. Runs up the middle, past the 20. Not much after that. Luffridge picks up 4, and that takes us to halftime. The Fordham defense shines. They hold the Hoyas to 3 points in the first half and 2 touchdowns from the Rams. Julius Luffridge, Jeff Ciccio, Evan. That's a pretty good half of football by the Rams on their home turf.
Finally seeing what the Rams can do when the offense capitalizes off the defense's good play. Whenever the offense has been in good field position, they've been playing complementary football, holding up their end of the bargain, and finally scoring, a thing we haven't seen earlier on in the season, Lou.
James Conway, 5 tackles, 2 shy of tying the Patriot League record. Capaldi, 8 of 18, 157 yards, touchdown and interception. And Julius Luffridge averaging nearly 7 yards a carry. They only handed it to him 8 times, but he's had success when they've gone to him.
And not only him, Jacob Rodriguez behind him as well has been dominating in the rushing attack. We've seen when Georgetown wins games, they typically own the rushing attack stats. That's not been the theme so far, and that's probably why they're down 14 points right now.
The Rams up 2 scores as we head into halftime, and with this, let's send it back to the Rose Hill Studios. Kurt Sipple and Naomi Ray, the one-on-one halftime report.
The one-on-one halftime report.
Welcome to the one-on-one halftime report. I am Kurt Sipple, joined with Naomi Ray. We just saw a great half of football from the Fordham Rams, 17-3. But before we break it down, me and Naomi, we're going to go through some highlights. First thing, Julius Luffridge scores a 9th touchdown of the season and the first of the game as he ran the right side for the 7-yard for a 2-yard rushing touchdown. Then after...
Handoff Luffridge, running right, carries the defender into the end zone. Touchdown Fordham. Fordham gets on the board first. It's Julius Luffridge, his 9th touchdown of the season, 6-0 Rams.
The one-on-one halftime report.
Jeff Ciccio catches a red zone touchdown pass from Capaldi for the Rams for the 2nd touchdown of the games, making the Rams go up 14-0.
Snap, handoff Cox, leaps up, extends for the end zone. He didn't get there. Fordham gets the stop. It's 4th and inches, and decision time for the Hoyas.
That was Cox's Georgetown attempts in the drive into the end zone, but Fordham's defense stopped the ball. After that, a scary play to end Fordham's first half with a fumble, losing 12 yards, but retains possession. We just saw Fordham go up for their largest lead of the season, 17-0, but then we see Georgetown come back to kick for 3 points on the half. Naomi, what did you see from the Fordham Rams this game for this half of football?
I saw a lot of great effort. The Fordham Rams have not had the best season so far, but this game they are doing well.
And I just want to attack some quick storylines for this Fordham game. Julius Luffridge is only 49 yards away from another 1,000-yard season, putting him in elite company with the Fordham Rams. As well, James Conway is now 8 tackles shy from the record in tackles in the Patriot League. He's at 1 today, so now he needs 7 more in the next half to take the record back. But just one quick thing, we've saw such a great passing game from the Fordham Rams, and we haven't seen that much. Why do you think Fordham has had such a great passing game today?
I think they are really communicating well with each other, and I think they're showing a great team effort. I think we haven't seen that in a lot of the past games, and they're standing out today, and once they put that to use, they're doing great.
And Naomi, I think for credit for Jack Capaldi is the O-line today. He has had so much more time in the pocket so he can have more. He has so much more time in the pocket so he can perform that he's been able to pass the ball to his receivers. And we've seen that the passing game has been so much better for these Fordham Rams. And you know what? When we heard Lou and Evan on the broadcast say that usually when Georgetown beats you, the Hoyas are leading in the passing lanes. But today, Fordham is the one leading in the passing lanes. And that's such a credit to this defense that was talked so highly of all season long, and that we really see that Fordham's defense has gotten so much better, especially with that Hoyas when we attack them in the red zone to bring them down for the 1 yard attempt. I mean, just in general, Fordham has had such a great game. And where do you think this will lead them for the next half?
Hopefully, in the next half, they'll continue upwards. I think hopefully for the rest of the season, they'll do good as well. As the season is wrapping up, we hope that they're going to do good.
Definitely. And another thing for Julius Lufford, someone who had a very slow start to the year, he had another touchdown this season, and this is his 7th straight game with a rushing touchdown for the Fordham Rams. And just you love to see a good game from someone like Julius Luffridge, who was projected to be one of the best players in the Patriot League and really is showing his stars all together as one of the best players in the Patriot League. And also for the Fordham team today, it's all just how much they are able to play together and be better as a team. The amount of first downs that they've had is 10 first downs. Their receiving yards, 19.6 receiving yards per pass. I mean, Jack Capaldi just looks so much more comfortable today, wouldn't you say?
I agree.
Definitely. And also, Fordham has their defense to offense, their rushing game has been so much better. Comparative to Georgetown, 74 to Georgetown's 55 rushing yards, and an average of one. They have an average of one more yard per carry than Georgetown as well. And just to harp on these storylines a little bit more, Jeff Ciccio, a member of the Fordham Rams since 2019, he's getting going too, and that just shows that this is such a collaborative team effort from Fordham and these Rams. It's just like, how can they keep coming together to win this game, especially with one more left? You want to have a strong end to your season, and especially you had a strong end to the half, a very scary end to the half, almost fumbling the ball from the 12-yard loss of yards that they had. But Capaldi, he's had those moments where he's been, even against when he first came in and he was overthrowing many of the passes. Today he just looks so much more comfortable, and you could see what practice does.
I agree. And I really do think it is all about collaboration. I think that's what's making them stand out so well in this game. As we said, the season is wrapping up, and they only have a couple more chances to prove that they are a good winning team.
Definitely. And I think for Georgetown also, if we want to just have a little bit more, I know that we might not be holding Georgetown right now to the passing yards that they usually our defense is holding them to those passing yards usually. But for now, we have to play the same football next half as we're playing this half, because most of Georgetown's attacks are going to be through the air, and those yards are going to be gained, and you're going to have in halftime during this break that they're getting. They're going to have a lot more. They're going to have a sit-down chat and look at themselves and say, how can we beat the 1-9 Fordham Rams this season? But Fordham really just wants this game, and you can see that they're coming out punching and not going to lose this one. Not going to win. Not going to have an easy win tonight for the Fordham Rams. Georgetown's going to make it competitive next half, wouldn't you say?
I agree. They still need to be putting in the effort, but they're not going to go down without a fight. That's what I think.
Definitely. And just another credit to Fordham's kickers as well, having the 2 field goals and another one to put us up from 17-3. one of the things is we haven't seen many points being put up by these Fordham Rams this season. Having a 17-0 lead was their largest of the season, which is pretty incredible for Fordham that they're finally they're figuring it out. Too bad it's at the end, but it doesn't matter because showing signs of life is always good, especially when you have a game for next week as well.
I agree. It's unfortunate that the season is going this way, but as long as they're putting in the effort now, I think it's all that matters.
Definitely. And just in general for Fordham, I think for the next drive, for the next quarters, I think that they have to just keep up what they're doing and keep figuring it out. I mean, Jack Capaldi, the amount of comfort that we're seeing from him, especially with CJ Montez going down and having to put in so much effort that he didn't expect for this season, especially not getting the starting QB job. You never thought, he didn't maybe think that he was going to see as many minutes as he is because CJ Montez was playing. But I think in general, he's looked so much better, and that's a credit to Fordham's O-line that has looked a little weak in the Patriot League and has been getting taken advantage of for most of their games.
I agree.
Yeah, and also Fordham's like the not fumbling the ball, not turning over the ball as much. Fordham's turnover rates haven't been up as much this season, and it's just they've been up a lot this season, and also keeping out of penalties. Fordham's penalties haven't been as high as well, not as many flags on many of the plays. So I think for most of it that we're gonna see more of Fordham's effort and attack in the next half. Naomi, I just want to close out asking you, what do you expect from the next half from these Fordham Rams?
For the next half, I expect there to be a lot of communication with the team. I expect them to do well. I expect it to be a good win.
Definitely, and we'll see how it goes for these Fordham Rams in the next half against the Georgetown Hoyas with your one-on-one halftime report. I am Kurt Sippel, joined alongside Noemi Ray. Back to you, Lou and Evan.
I'm Chaz McAdams.
And I'm Ben Oppenheimer.
And we are two of your hosts for On the Hill, the flagship podcast of Fordham Athletics.
We'll be talking about everything from football at Moglia Stadium
to hoops at the historic Rose Hill Gym,
discussing the ins and outs of all Ram athletes, teams, and big games.
If you want to be part of the Ramily, then listen to On the Hill from WFUV Sports.
Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin, Fordham Football on WFUV Sports, Week 12 in the FCS, Week 12 in college football. Thrilled to be here at Jack Coffey Field for the Patriot League season finale. A weird spot to be in if you're the Fordham Rams and the Georgetown Hoyas, two programs that playoff hopes not really on the line. You're playing for pride. But when you're the Fordham Rams, it's tough to ignore a storyline, a headline quite like James Conway. I remember thinking 2 years ago when I watched Ryan Greenhagen 31 tackles against Nebraska, I didn't think I would ever see a linebacker better in my lifetime at Fordham than Ryan Greenhagen. Little did we know there was a guy on the team that year that is going to surpass him in tackles and already has James Conway 429 tackles. Now the all-time Fordham tackling leader after tying the record 2 weeks ago. And it's just so cool to hear about Greenhagen and Conway's relationship together.
And for me, it started in the summer of my sophomore season. I was teammates with James Conway. He had first arrived here on campus. It was preseason, so the first look we were getting at those young freshmen, and everybody kind of looked around, looked at Matt Jaworski and James Conway and said, those two guys look a little different than the rest of the freshmen. They looked like they had already been playing college football for a couple seasons, both body-wise but very mentally. You could tell both of them were only focused on getting better at football, making this team a better football team, and it's really showed out for the rest of James Conway's career. his career. The next moment I realized, Lou, was when he was playing in a game an entire season next to Ryan Greenhagen and was still an All-American as a freshman, which was very eye-opening to everyone in the Patriot League. This might be one of the best linebackers ever in college football in James Conway.
Well, absolutely, and the fact that he is vying for the Patriot League career tackles record in just his 4th season. There's no COVID nonsense extra year of eligibility. This is his legitimate senior year, and it's a senior year where he has been hampered by injuries. The rumor around campus at the start of the season was that Conway was going to be out to the year, to the point where he told our sports information director, Joe DeBari, I'm probably not going to play this year. At one point, turned around, went into Coach Conlon's office, said, Coach, I want to play. Conlon allowed him to play the 4 games, and Conway on pace to set the Patriot League tackling record. It's pretty impressive stuff from a guy that began his career as impressive as you can get, set the Fordham freshman record with 130 tackles. That was the 3rd most in a single season, and you really do think about how special it was to have Conway and Greenhagen overlap. And we mentioned during the game the lineage of linebackers, Glenn Cunningham to Ryan Greenhagen to James Conway to hopefully Jalen Dawson. It's a pretty cool thing that this program has been able to continue over an 8-year stretch.
And you mentioned the amount of time that Conway's been able to accomplish this feat in is like no other. Ryan Greenhagen and Jacob Dobbs both have more games played within that span. They were able to use that COVID year, able to use extra seasons. So James Conway not only holding the record for himself if he's able to grasp it in the second half of this football game, but it will be a record that really separates him from the rest of the linebackers in Patriot League history. But as you're saying, Lou, it's heart, mind, body, recovery. Everything is focused towards football in James Conway's life. And like Ryan Greenhagen said, he will see dividends. We're seeing the dividends pay out today.
I think one of the coolest aspects of the story when we talk about Greenhagen and Conway, the overlap that those two have had in this program. We've told the story on air before about Coach Conlon going up to Conway and saying, you see Ryan Greenhagen, go follow him and do whatever he does. But to Conway's credit, he took those words to heart, and Greenhagen told us on Thursday. Now, Conway came up to me after one practice and said, hey, can I stay after you? Can I work with you after practice? That was a practice habit that Ryan Greenhagen had. He always stayed after practice to work on his craft. That was something that James Conway implemented to his game, and it's still here even as an All-American linebacker, as a senior, as one of the greatest linebackers in FCS history, frankly. After every practice, you will see James Conway doing the extra work. It's so cool to see those little things get passed down from Greenhagen to Conway.
And Greenhagen wanted to take no credit at all for Conway's success, made it a point to point the finger directly back at Conway every time we attempted to point it at him for helping him out, for teaching him the ways, was saying that was all Conway, I did nothing extra. He just had the fight, the mentality, the competitiveness in him to keep following what I did every single practice, except for the 10 eggs. He made it a point to mention, Lou, that he thinks Conway does 8 or 9 eggs, but he won't get to the Greenhagen 10 just yet.
I mean, the Greenhagen breakfast, lunch, dinner, it's ridiculous. I know you saw it in person, but the 10 eggs, the full bowl of oatmeal, I just get sick thinking about it.
It's disgusting, especially coming from the Fordham cafeteria as well.
No.
These aren't some very good bougie eggs or anything like that. So Ryan Greenhagen and James Conway both putting success over what they're eating and pretty much everything else they do in their daily life.
I think it's so visible how much was passed down from Greenhagen to Conway. I think one of those things was humble. And we've tried to talk to James Conway and get him to say positive things about himself. And you might as well be talking to a wall anytime you want to talk about personal achievements with him or how great he is, because it's undeniable. He's one of the greatest players in Fordham football history. He's not going to give in. It's always about the team, about the wins and losses. I think that's something that Conway and Greenhagen both take pride in, but it's really cool to see Greenhagen give a quote like the one I'm about to read about James Conway. He said, he's one of the most impressive people I've been around, not just in football, in my life. If there's anyone deserving of this record, it's him. I think that's a quote that just really puts a bow on the storyline that we've been following today.
And Ryan Greenhagen has been in the NFL, he's been in the CFL, he's been around a lot of very impressive humans, very impressive football players. So he's coming from a very unbiased standpoint with that statement right there. And along with that, Ryan Greenhagen and James Conway both so humble. Every time we talk to Conway and mention you had this many tackles last game, his immediate response is, well, the defense played really well that game. It's never anything he did. It's what everyone did around him that allowed him to achieve that success. But humbleness is a trait you see, and a lot of very good players keeps them grounded, keeps them working hard, even when their talent is showing off.
You'd have to really look hard to find two harder workers than Ryan Greenhagen and James Conway. And Ryan Greenhagen graduated in 2022, spent a year in NFL training camps in the summer, went to the CFL, and now he's back his first season as outside linebackers coach back at Rose Hill. Well, the other storyline that we're following would be Julius Luffridge, who entered today with 951 rushing yards. He has 59 in the first half, surpassing 1,000 rushing yards for the second straight season. He is the fourth Fordham Ram to rush for 1,000 yards twice. That is elite company. One of those players, Chase Edmonds.
And right behind Julius Luffridge, or right ahead of him, I should say, was Trey Sneed, another very good running back. And it's just keeping going the lineage, the culture that Fordham's built here of designing very good football players that then pass on traits to younger guys. Julius Luffridge was Trey Sneed's number 2 his freshman and sophomore season, and then as soon as he erupted onto the scene his junior year, took a lot of traits that he learned from Sneed over the years and really put them to work, now averaging 105 yards per game on the ground. That's number 1 in the Patriot League.
And it's pretty special when you look at what Luffridge has done, now up over 3,000 yards in his Fordham career, and he's done all of this in 3 seasons. Did not play his freshman year, burst onto the scene in 2022, backing up Trey Sneed, took over lead back duties last year, was an all-conference selection, and he has just been, simply put, an absolute monster. When you look at what he's done now, rising up the ranks, getting pretty close to 4th all-time in rushing. Now, Chase Edmonds is 1st all-time. That will be a tough cat to catch, but it's very realistic that Chase Edmonds could be the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th all-time leading rusher by the time it's all said and done.
And we could talk about stats all day long with Julius Luffridge, but he's one of those guys that truly passes the eye test. When you watch him play, you can tell there's a difference between number 15 in maroon and pretty much everyone else on the field. Seems like a man amongst boys when he's playing against other Patriot League opponents. We saw in that Bowling Green game, looked like a true FBS football player, even better than some players on that Bowling Green roster. Seemed like he belonged in that atmosphere.
Play resumes here from Jack Coffey Field. Fordham kicking right to left. It's the Rams, a 17-3 lead through one half of play. Henderson, the touchback. Georgetown takes over at the 25-yard line. The Rams protecting a 14-point lead as they kind of hit on at the halftime show. Pretty good first half for the Rams. One of their best first halves of the season and their largest first half lead of the season. Now just have to complete the effort with a strong second half.
Dominating offensively and defensively were the Rams, but the Hoyas were catching up. They're starting to close those gaps in pretty much all the categories. They had a good drive at the end of that first half. They're closing in on rushing yards, now up to 55, and were able to stack up 133 passing yards now, starting the second quarter.
Quarterback remains Holtschlag. Hands off to Kearney. Up the middle. No space to work with. And there's the tackle by Sam Burkle. No gain for Kearney.
And we see Jacob Holtschlag take the first snap for the Hoyas, so seems like he will be their starting quarterback for the remainder of this game.
And only one reception, 22 yards for the Patriot League's leading wide receiver, Jimmy Kibble. He is not out there to start the second half. Opening 30 seconds. Second down and 10. Holtschlag back to throw. Looks middle, throws right side. There's Pygott at the 35. Loose at the 40-yard line. Now caught from behind by James Conway. Tackle number 6. And moves the chains.
Well, Pygott's been dominant out here today despite the lackadaisical offense from the Hoyas. That's his 4th reception. He had 72 yards right before that big grab right there.
James Conway now just one tackle away from tying Jacob Dobbs for the Patriot League tackling record. First down and 10 from the Georgetown 40. Minute in, Holtschlag on the give. Again going nowhere, a loss of 2 as they give it up the gut, and this D-line showing out Claudie Robinson.
And Alan Gant really drawing up the disguise right there. We can hear coaches in the box here yelling from next door, Lou. Those were the Georgetown coaches screaming for an adjustment to be made from the offensive line because Fordham had James Conway stacked at the defensive line. The offensive line for the Hoyas not able to make the adjustment, and Fordham blows that up.
Kearney a loss of 3, 2nd and 13 from the 37. Play fake. Holtschlag, deep right side. Pygott dives, can't make the catch. Excellent coverage as Kemper runs with him.
Pygott that time, they've been looking for him all day long, especially when he's matched up against Kemper. Had one massive grab against him, a bit of a moss, a head top catch, but since then Kemper been able to lock him down on 3 straight attempts.
3rd and 13, a chance for this Fordham defense to open the second half with a 3-and-out. Georgetown trailing by 14. They were held to just 3 points in the first half. Fordham stacks the line. They send pressure. Holtschlag to throw. Again right side. Has a man streaking. It's incomplete. Jonathan Anderson the go route along the sideline. Bradford in coverage. An overthrow by Holtschlag.
Pretty much testing everybody not named Niall Perkins. That's the one corner they really don't want to throw to. Haven't seen him tested at all today. But Alex Kemper and Trey Bradford have been getting their share of passes and have been doing a good job of smacking them away.
A minute and 51 seconds into our third quarter, and Fordham poised to get the ball back as this defense opens the half with a 3-and-out. Patrick Ryan, weak punt, bounces at the 40-yard line out of bounds in Fordham territory. Strong pressure up the middle on the punt block led by Matt Jaworski.
Matt Jaworski there and other Fordham Rams as well closing in on that punt. Forces Ryan to kick a poor one, and Fordham has good field position yet again.
13:02 left in the first half, or in the second half, excuse me, and what has been a relatively quiet second quarter, was a relatively quiet second quarter for Jack Capaldi after a really strong start. At half, it ends with numbers at 8 for 18, 157 yards, touchdown and interception. Had success in the deep game early. That success started to wither as the half went along.
Yeah, especially with the interception. Seems like as soon as the interception came, a little bit of momentum shifted, and that Fordham offense stopped looking completely different than it has all season long. In the first quarter and early on in the second, they were marching up and down the field, weren't committing penalties, converting in the red zone. And then we saw the Fordham offense we were used to as we closed into halftime, an interception, penalties, putting them behind the sticks, punts, and them resulting back to their old ways. We'll see if they can change it back to the way they came out to start this game.
13:02 left in the second half. Fordham ahead 17-3. Fordham football on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham Athletics with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
With you, Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin. Fordham, their first drive in the second half. Capaldi takes over with the offense at the 38-yard line. 2 receivers either side. Capaldi the snap. Keeps it himself on the left side and breaks free. Slides at midfield and takes a late hit. After giving himself up, the flags fly. And that's a penalty that will put Fordham into Georgetown territory.
And they're hoping Capaldi's all right. Usually you see quarterbacks take that hit and kind of jump up knowing that they were going to do that the whole time, get excited. Capaldi seems to be genuinely hurt as he laid on the ground for a couple seconds, grabbed at his head, is now walking around in circles, but seems like he'll take that next snap.
That's number 38, Zeron Daniel, a Brooklyn native. A starting safety for the Hoyas. The late hit on Capaldi. And I tell you what, Capaldi's gotten really good at that read option and disguising it. He hesitated there before slashing up the middle.
Has been able to manipulate multiple teams' defensive ends and cruise upfield for easy yards.
Fordham at the Georgetown 38. Capaldi with trips right. Play fake. Throws the far side screen. Mackay Felton at the 40. Up to the 35. Knocked out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
Well, that's the first perimeter pass play we've seen all day from the Fordham offense. This used to be their MO back in 2022 when they had that great offensive season. It was get the ball out to receivers quick, let them work with a couple of blockers, and use their athleticism to get some yards near the sideline.
Injured Hoya along the sideline. That is DeAndre Harris, who is getting work done on his left leg, just out of bounds. Earlier in the game, saw Zaid Aziz, one of the two starting safeties for Georgetown, injured. He has not returned to this game. Now it's his backup, DeAndre Harris, getting checked out. And Evan talked about a little bit in the first half that Georgetown primarily runs a 3-safety set. They use Preston Murray in that flux role, can creep down and play as a linebacker as well. But a Georgetown secondary that's already down, their preseason All-Patriot League corner, Wedner Cadet, getting even more banged up here in Week 12.
And they use a lot of players, a lot of depth in that back end like you usually see when teams only run two true linebackers. You mentioned DeAndre Harris, a backup, but he's still got 19 tackles, a sack, a pass breakup, and a tackle for loss on the season. His coaches say he's got excellent ball skills and is extremely physical as a senior. They're hoping to get that back out on the field.
Play resumes without DeAndre Harris. 12:20 and ticking on the third quarter. Fordham 2nd and 6. Ball spotted at the Georgetown 34. Trips on the left side. Hand off to Luffridge. Bursts up the middle. Has the first down. Spins forward to the 25. Brought down right there, but not before the first down.
And that's a big first down. You want to be chugging in the rushing game as you approach the red zone, which they are now, standing at the 24 of the Georgetown Hoyas. They'll look to keep pounding with big number 15.
Just the 10th carry of the game for Luffridge, but Fordham hasn't had to use him all that often with success in the passing game. 1st and 10 from the 26. Play fake. Capaldi throws right side through the hands of Cole Thornton. Stopped on a dime at the 10-yard line, had an opening there.
Well, last week, Coach Conlon mentioned Cole Thornton dropped the ball in the red zone that he said, quote-unquote, I've seen him make 99 out of 100 times. That time, a little bit harder of a catch, had to come across his body, but one Cole Thornton will tell you he should make.
11.5 to play in the third. 2nd and 10 from the 26. Trips left for Capaldi. Ricky Gonzalez, Mackay Felton, Jeff Ciccio sideline in. Fordham ahead 17-3. They're looking to make this a 3-score game. Snap, handoff. No, kept by Capaldi. Ball is loose. Who's going to fall on it? Georgetown says they have it, and they do. 2nd turnover of the day for Jack Capaldi. Kept it on the read option and got blown up.
Capaldi putting the ball on the ground with the read option. That's a theme we saw last week as well. We've seen it earlier on in the season at crucial times in the game. This time a little bit less crucial with the score the way it is, but you never want to see a quarterback drop the football, especially when running with it, especially Jack Capaldi, a quarterback that's been plagued with turnover issues. Who else but Cooper Blomstrom picking up that football and giving the Hoyas possession?
Got to be careful about letting this Georgetown team back into the game. The Fordham offense shot out of the cannon, 14 points in the first quarter, but you can't rest on your laurels there. You have to keep up the intensity. That is a drive where you get up to the 26-yard line in Georgetown territory. You'd like to at least get 3 out of that.
These are the Rams we saw last week, Lou, absolutely marching down the football field. You think a touchdown is going to be easy, and then, the quarterback drops the football. Now it's going the opposite way. It's a completely different football game when that momentum swings. We'll see if the Hoyas can capitalize. They were not able to capitalize off that first takeaway in the first half.
That is 2 straight games for Capaldi with multiple turnovers. You think back to last week, had the botched read option trying to hand it off to Jacob Rodriguez, then attempted to pull it back. The ball pops free. Gavin Willis scoops it up and takes it for a touchdown. You could argue that that was the difference in the game. You lose by 1. Gavin Willis gets Patriot League Defensive Player of the Week. Later in the game, Capaldi throws the interception, and here in this game, miscommunication between Capaldi and Felton. The interception by Braylon Wise along the near sideline, and now on the read option, I think Capaldi maybe makes the wrong read there. Luffridge looked like had open space on that far side. Instead, he keeps it, and he gets met by 3 or 4 different Hoyas coming full speed.
And they really teach you as a quarterback, if you don't know, just hand it off. It's better to have the ball in the hands of someone who's on the team specifically to run with the football in their hands than someone who's there to pass it, because we know that quarterbacks typically aren't tucking the football and running with it. Leaves defenders easy rooms to punch it out.
James Conway, number 48, skipping and hopping out to the middle of this defense. 6 tackles today, 1 shy of tying Jacob Dobbs for the Patriot League all-time record. Conway stands along the far hash, lined up with the tight end Max McCormick. Here's Georgetown after the turnover by Capaldi. 1st and 10 from the 26. 11:24 to play in the third. Holtschlag looking left, throws left, the screen for Dunneman. Dunneman can't break through the tackle from Boogie Owens. Gets up to the 32-yard line to pick up 6.
Well, the Hoyas going with the perimeter game here as well early on, coming out of halftime. That's something you see out of teams that aren't running the ball well. You need to get those short yards somehow. Now they're turning to the receivers on the outside to go get those 4 or 5-yard gains.
2nd and 4 from the 32. 11 minutes left in the third. Fordham ahead by 14. Georgetown looking to cut the lead down. Hand off to Hart, breaks free, gets the first down, and Conway makes the tackle. James Conway tied with Jacob Dobbs, 432 tackles. That's the Patriot League record.
No one more deserving than Big 4'8" with his neck roll in the middle of the football field right now, standing over the Fordham F is very fitting because he's been a dominant Fordham Ram ever since he got here, leaving his legacy here on Moglia Stadium.
Currently tied with Dobbs. His next one will make him the official all-time leader all alone. 1st and 10 from the 42. Holtschlag, far side screen to Dunneman. Slips by 1 tackle, tripped up at the 45-yard line.
They're going right back to Dunneman in that perimeter game. That seems to be their identity on 1st down, coming out of halftime, looking to throw the ball to the outside instead of rushing it up the middle on 1st downs.
Georgetown 5 yards shy of midfield, 2nd and 7 as the clock dips under 10 minutes here in the third. Fordham a 17-3 lead. Dunneman across in motion, left to right. Stops off the tight end. Shovels forward to Dunneman, taking it wide left. Through 1 tackle, not going to break the second. Tackled by Barletta, a yard behind the line of scrimmage, calling a loss of 1.
Dunneman pretty much being the running back here on this drive. We see them turn to him on every single 1st down throwing the ball. This time they give him a little pitch play, let him run with it, but it goes nowhere.
3rd down and 8, 9:15 left in the third quarter. 3 receivers on the near side. Fordham looking for a stop here. Conway on the line. Here's a flag with 5 seconds left on the play clock. The illegal formation penalty that takes it from 3rd and 8 to 3rd and 13.
And that's massive right there. There's a big difference between 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 13. Once you get into 3rd and 13, you're pretty much thinking setting up a punt. You're in screen pass territory. You know the defense is just going to be sitting back looking to come up and make a tackle. A 3rd and 8 is reasonable, not a 3rd and 13.
8:50 left in the third. Conway once again on the line with the 4 defensive linemen. Conway drops back in coverage. Fordham sends 4. Holtschlag throw, leaping grab. Dunneman makes the catch at the 40-yard line. Conway saying Fordham has it. Was it ripped out of the hands? Dunneman battling for it with the defensive back, Alex Kemper, and the referees signal Georgetown ball.
That one was close, but you see it all the time in the NFL. Whenever there is those 50-50s where a receiver and a corner are both fighting for the football on the ground, they always give it to the receiver. They pretty much always have possession first. It's kind of like tie goes to the runner in baseball. Tie basically goes to the receiver in football when they both have possession.
Georgetown converts on 3rd and 13, now into Fordham territory. 1st and 10 from the 40. Rams send 5. They give up to Hart. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage, falls forward for 1. Looks like Jaworski made the tackle.
Jaworski letting everybody know he made that tackle afterwards, pumping up the defensive line, fist pumps, chest pumps, pretty much every kind of pump you can get.
Matt Jaworski, his 3rd tackle of the game. He's been involved in that backfield a lot with his fair share of quarterback pressures today. Matt Jaworski here midway through the 3rd quarter, 7 quarterback pressures. He had 9 last week. 2nd and 9, Dunneman in motion, gets the handoff on the jet sweep, and Jaworski the tackle for loss. Got him back at the 48-yard line.
Give him another tackle for loss in that category. Eats him up, racks him up every single game. And not only that, he seems to get better as the game goes on, Lou. As the time ticks, you get into the 3rd and 4th quarter, it seems like Matt Jaworski is ruining drives even more than he was in the first half of every game.
The Patriot League's leader in tackles for loss, now 16 and a half. Sets up 3rd and 14. As they'll say, the 44-yard line as Dunneman helped out by some forward progress. 6:40 to play in the 3rd. Holtschlag back to throw. Pressure coming. Hit as he throws and intercepted. Niall Perkins. A flag after the interception along the sideline. 35-30. Cuts back. 20. Brought down inside the 20-yard line. Niall Perkins. He's done it again.
Did it again, his 6th time of the season. Number 6 in the interception column for Niall Perkins. We'll see what these flags are about, but as it stands right now, his league-leading 6th interception this season.
I think the flag flew after the interception. That's probably something blocking going the other way, but the interception should stand, and if it does, that would tie the FCS lead.
Should stand. The way the defense is still standing out on the field, James Conway seems to be tapping everyone to kind of focus them back in. We'll see what the referees have to say.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both against Fordham. Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 34. 15-yard penalty will be enforced. The other foul will be declined, which is returning the return and blocking the back.
Matt Jaworski roughing the passer, and that will negate Niall Perkins' 6th interception of the season. Doesn't take away from a great catch and a great run.
A great cornerback as well. Coach Conlon has pointed to him as the best in the Patriot League, says that his presence makes the rest of the defense so much better. But that's a huge change of events right there, Lou.
Well, it's not just taking the ball away from Fordham. That was a 3rd and 14 play, and now that's a free 1st down for Georgetown. They got the ball inside the 30. Fresh set of chains.
You can't think of a worse mistake for a defense to make right there. They could have the football heading their way in the red zone for their offense. Instead, it's the complete opposite.
1st and 10 from the 29. Holtschlag hands off to Cox, runs up the middle, met by Conway. Conway brings him down, and he stands alone in the Patriot League. 433 tackles. No one in Patriot League history has ever made more.
And he's hyped up on that football field right now. You can bet he knows it and he deserves it. Me and Lou have mentioned it seems James Conway's always in the right spot. If there's a run play, Conway is stopping it. Ryan Greenhagen says it's because he prepares that well. So deserving for a guy who works that hard for this.
Ryan Greenhagen said he's one of the most impressive people I've ever been around in my life. No one deserving more than him. Your new Patriot League tackle leader. Hand off to Cox, running left, bounces off a tackle, still spinning forward, up to the 25-yard line, now driven back. When this is all said and done, call it a gain of 3 and 3rd down and 6.
And James Conway there on the tackle again, looking to keep that record, trying to add some more tackles right there. Put himself even higher and farther away in that first place territory.
Conlon mentioned to us a few weeks back, he's got an extra year of eligibility. He plans to return to Fordham. He is going to make this record nearly unbreakable.
And we mentioned some other players have 100 tackles on other teams. Coach Conlon said, well, Conway would have 150 more than that guy if he was playing, so don't look at that number too harshly.
3rd and 6, less than 5 minutes to play in the 3rd. Ball on the Fordham 25. Holtschlag looks left, throwing for the end zone, incomplete. Perkins in coverage. Dunneman on the wheel route. Curious what Georgetown decides to do here. They're in field goal range. You're trailing by 14. at a certain point, time does run out.
Right, and you're in that spot again where the analytics will tell you to go. It'll be a really tricky field goal at the college FCS level right here. But the first down territory is still 6 yards away. That's a long ways away. You don't want to punt in this situation. The offense will stay out there for the Hoyas.
4th and 6 at the 25. Rams lead by 14 and a chance to get their third turnovers on down forced. Holzschlag drops back, looking left, throws left, tipped, and incomplete. Thurman got a hand on it, but tight coverage once again, Niall Perkins.
Niall Perkins flying all over the field. He was upset that he didn't pick that football off. Those are the expectations Niall Perkins holds for himself as he has some words with the Hoyas sideline that he's been standing next to the entire time.
Well, Conway, 434 tackles, the Patriot League tackle king. And to boot, Fordham forces the turnover on downs, their third of the game. The Rams getting the ball back, leading 17-3 with 4.5 to play in the third.
And we'll see if the Rams can finally march down the field and capitalize at the end.
Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin, Fordham Football on WFUV Sports, coming right back.
What's up, everyone? I'm Will Talent.
And I'm Evan Harkin. We're two of your hosts for NFL Friday, WFUV Sports' exclusive NFL podcast.
From breaking down the weekly slate to fantasy football pickups, we've got you covered on all things around the NFL.
Stay tuned for our hosts' weekly picks as they compete against each other all season long.
Football is here, and so is NFL Friday.
Rams in the driver's seat here, leading 17-3 midway through the third. And with that, let's bring in the third member of our broadcast crew, Annabelle Watson. What do you see down there?
Hey Lou, there's been good, mellow vibes on the sidelines in this first half. A lot of conversations between Capaldi and Conlon, hoping to get some touchdowns to cushion this lead. The sideline erupted on the Niall Perkins interception. That excitement obviously got a bit deflated after the fouls. This team does seem to be holding their breath a bit, trying to lock down this win. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Annabelle. And to that point, while the defense has played fantastic, the offense has left a little bit to be desired ever since the first quarter. 14 points in the first, 3 points since. They have not scored yet here in the second half. It's Capaldi in the gun at his own 25 with 4:38 left in the third. Rams leading 17-3 over the Hoyas. Capaldi hands off to Luffridge, takes it up the middle, picks up 4, brought down at the 29.
And you need the rushing attack now more than ever. When you have that lead, you're trying to build a cushion. At the same time, you're trying to kill that clock. You want this game to read 0-0 with you on top. But there's an injured Fordham Ram right down on the field right now.
And that is Julius Luffridge, one of the last players that you want to see go down. This is a tough kid. One that we've seen have a couple injury scares this season and always has been able to work through it. They're looking at something lower body right now.
Yeah, we've joked before, Lou, but kind of not jokingly, that Julius Luffridge seems to come off the field and you think, oh, he might be done for a few games. And the very next drive, he's back out there running over defenders. So we'll see if he can harness that superpower here again.
He's helped to his feet rather quickly. And to that note, Luffridge missed a game. He missed the Dartmouth game earlier this season. Came right back against Monmouth, had a pretty solid day. And to the point of how impactful Julius Luffridge has been, entering play today with 951 rushing yards. That is 6 shy of the Patriot League lead by Jamar Curtis, the preseason Offensive Player of the Year, who has an extra game on him.
And all the defenses know what they're going to do going up against Fordham. They stack the box. They know, let's just stop number 15. So all eyes are on him while he's putting up these amazing stats.
This is Rodriguez in the backfield for 2nd and 6. Capaldi keeps on the near side, past the 30, eyeing out of bounds the sideline at the 35. Should be enough for the first down.
Fordham lucky they didn't. Oh, there is a flag on the play. I was going to say, Fordham lucky to not see a flag. It seemed like holding from receivers out here as Capaldi trickled out of bounds. But there is a flag late on the field as referees discuss.
Ricky Gonzalez and KJ Reed, the receivers on the near side, tasked with blocking for Capaldi. Referees discuss.
Holding, offense number 5. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Second down.
Well, they'll get Gonzalez for the holding penalty, and I think luckily called at the spot of the foul. That shouldn't be too much more than 2nd and 11. As there's a pretty good run by Capaldi, got right up to the first down marker.
Result of the penalty is 2nd and 11.
Well, they're going to call it 2nd and 11. I was on the dot exactly there. 4:04 left to play in the third. Trips right. Capaldi peers in, adjusts the play call with 15 left on the play clock. Capaldi will step up to the line. Play clock dips under 5. Rodriguez motions over to the left. Rodriguez gets the handoff, jukes by a defender, gets up past the 25-yard line. Not much more after that. Brought down at the 27. Nice presence on the right side edge.
A nifty original move there from Rodriguez. Escapes the defensive end, and what do you know? Julius Luffridge comes right back into the game. You really can't hold this guy on the sideline for very long.
Julius Luffridge, 11 carries, 71 yards today, and a touchdown, 6.5 per carry. He re-enters for 3rd and 8. Capaldi to throw. Looks right, throws over the middle, brought in by Tracy. Runs past midfield, brought down at the 45-yard line by Giancarlo Rufo. 3rd reception of the day for Noden Tracy, takes them into Georgetown territory.
And Noden Tracy hits a little first down celebration at the sideline, gives him right back. He's been emerging as a true receiver in this offense these last couple of games, now with his 3rd big catch today.
2:45 left in the third. Fordham at the Georgetown 45. Snap. Hand off to Luffridge. Met behind the line of scrimmage, brought down. They'll say at the 48-yard line for a loss of 3. Luffridge slow to get up.
Luffridge very slow to get up there. Concerning to see him go from one knee to both knees to needing a pull from an offensive lineman as he trots out of bounds, and Rodriguez fills his spot in the backfield.
2nd down and 13. 2 and change left in the third. Fordham looking to add to a 14-point lead. Ahead over Georgetown 17-3. Capaldi puts the ball on the ground. Who's going to fall on this one? The ball's still loose and looks like scooped up by Jacob Rodriguez at Fordham's own 46-yard line, but a botched handoff between Capaldi and Rodriguez, and that was something we saw last week as well.
2nd time we've seen here today. Capaldi put the ball on the ground in an exchange while trying to hand off the football. A major problem last week with handing off the football and read options.
90 seconds left in the third. This is 3rd down and 19 for the Fordham Rams as they are back in their own territory. Pair of receivers either side. Jacob Rodriguez sidecar left. Capaldi facing a blitz. Steps up, scrambles to his right, and has open space past midfield, past the 40, has the first down. Out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Jack Capaldi, a 22-yard rush to keep this drive alive.
And Capaldi gets a standing ovation from the crowd here at Moglia Stadium. That was a massive first down pickup to keep this offense on the field. He was outrunning defenders, and this is a quarterback that was questioned on whether he can evade the pressure that the Fordham offensive line was allowing when he first made his first start in this season.
Georgetown sent 6 there to bring pressure. Capaldi found the lane. Funky formation for Fordham. Everyone breaks out to the left and right. Capaldi and empty. Fakes the screen. Wants to go deep. Wide open. Jeff Ciccio inside the 20. Breaking through to the 10-yard line.
That's beautiful offense right here from the Fordham Rams overall. Everybody motions. There's 5 different guys that motion out. Now the defense is confused, but the offense stays calm while they are confused. Capaldi pumping, moving the defense with pump fakes, and then firing and finding the wide open Ciccio.
Final 10 seconds of the third quarter. One last play for the Rams. Capaldi, play fake, throws, over the middle, diving grab. Brought in by KJ Reed in the end zone. Touchdown Fordham. An impressive diving grab by the sophomore wide receiver, and that's the first touchdown of his career.
KJ Reed gets his first big one here at Moglia Stadium. It comes off the right arm of Jack Capaldi, who led them down the field this entire drive. It was all Jack Capaldi this drive doing it with his legs, doing it with his arms, finishing it off with a Fordham touchdown.
Fordham has extended their lead to 3 scores, up 23-3, as Henderson on for the extra point. The snap, the spot, the kick is on its way, and it is good. Fordham ahead 24-3, a 21-point lead with 2 seconds left in the third quarter, and they do it on a 12-yard touchdown to KJ Reed. What an impressive diving grab to get your first of the career.
Fordham's biggest lead of the season comes while their quarterback is having his best day so far. Last week, he set a season high in pretty much every stat. Most passing yards, rushing attempts, touchdowns in a single game this season. Out here today, he's balling again, doing it with his arms, with his legs. He almost dropped the football earlier on in that drive, and it almost resulted in a disaster. The Hoyas picking it up. Instead, the Rams fall on the football. Capaldi takes grace and blessings for the second chance he's got and scores a touchdown.
It's been a nice string of games for Jack Capaldi here. You think back to the Colgate win. Capaldi completed over 70% of his passes. Last week, career highs, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also completed passes at a 66.7% rate. So look at the last 2 games, completing passes at a 68% clip. Was up over 400 yards and another solid day. Today, only 52%, but 222 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and despite the turnovers, staying confident and making plays happen.
And the rushing's going hand in hand. When the offense can pass the ball, they're then able to rush the ball, and you have a two-headed monster moving down the field.
Final play of the third quarter. Henderson kicks away. Fielded by Inarebe, takes that at the goal line, right up the middle. 15, angles out left, past the 20. Lunging forward to the 25 as he was able to run out of an arm tackle. An injury down at the 20-yard line appears to be Noden Tracy, slow to get up, but able to get to his feet and limp off to the sideline. End of the third quarter, and KJ Reed's first touchdown gives the Rams a 24-3 lead. Orlando, Evan Harkin, 1 quarter left to play. And with that, we send it back to the Rose Hill Studios. Naomi Ray, the one-on-one scoreboard update.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Switching gears to Patriot League football, the Holy Cross Crusaders are currently taking on Bucknell in Massachusetts with a score of 38-37. Bucknell leading by 1. Down the road, the Stonehill Skyhawks take on the Lafayette Leopards in Philadelphia at Fisher Stadium. Lafayette is up by 32 with a score of 42-10. Back to basketball, some more A-10 matchups tonight include the Creighton Blue Jays hosting the UMKC Kangaroos at CenturyLink Center, Omaha, tipping off at 7 p.m. Colorado State takes on Ole Miss at 4, and in a good matchup, the Jayhawks welcome the Oakland Golden Grizzlies to Kansas. A Texas showdown tonight in NBA basketball as the San Antonio Spurs face the Dallas Mavericks at 8:30. In Pittsburgh, the Panthers are home against the Clemson Tigers at Heinz Field. The Tigers are up by 7 with a score of 17-10 at the end of the fourth quarter. And a big game tonight in Georgia, Tennessee versus Georgia football tonight at Sanford Stadium at 7:30. That's all for now, but keep it locked here for more updates as the Skulls roar in. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Naomi Ray.
Well, thank you, Naomi, and on behalf of our entire on-site crew, Evan Harkin, our on-site Jack Warner, our sidelines reporter Annabelle Watson, I'm Lou Orlando, and the Fordham Rams feeling pretty good at home here. Their Patriot League finale leading 24-3, firmly in the driver's seat with 1 quarter left to play. Haven't seen a ton of this from the Fordham Rams this season, but nice to see them kick it into high gear at the season's close.
And there's still work to be done. It's good to see the Fordham Rams in this position, one that they've never been in before, up 21 points to start the fourth quarter, but they know there's work to be done. This Georgetown offense can score quickly if you let them. So the defense is going to have to go out there, keep blitzing on 3rd and long, and keep this offense on their heels.
Georgetown offense has been held to just 3 points through 3 quarters of play. They averaged 21.9 a game, and now notably, have not seen Jimmy Kibble since the first quarter. That is the Patriot League's leading wide receiver. He averages 18.8 yards per catch. That is the second most by all active D1 wide receivers, FBS or FCS. Came into the game with 45 receptions, 698 yards, and 77.6 per game. So that's obviously a massive loss to that wide receiver room and a player that Coach Conlon highlighted for us going into the game.
Huge to not have Kibble, especially when the opponent is specifically scouting around you. That's when you know you're a game changer. But Cam Pygott has been filling his shoes pretty well today, turning into that number one. They go to him when he's open, when he's covered, which is a characteristic of number one guys. 4 receptions, 87 yards for Pygott.
Georgetown at the 26. Handoff up the middle. Not much space to work with. Maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage, just Bryce Cox.
And that's John Scott and Cloudy Robinson both in the mix right there. 2 young guys coming up in this defense as Coach Conlon expects to be really good game changers in the coming seasons.
We talked about it a lot more earlier in the season, but John Scott has just been terrific all season long, stepping up for an injured Jack Lowe. Second on the team in tackles for loss. He's been great. They fake the jet sweep, throw over the middle, and a reception pulled in by the tight end. Boogie Owens makes the tackle.
Holtschlag with a good throw right there under duress. Mike Courtney flying towards him, puts him on the ground after he throws the football, but able to pick up some yards, set up a third and manageable.
Burt Carroll with his first reception of the ball game. It's 3rd and 4 from the 32. Minute into our fourth quarter. Holtschlag facing pressure, throws right side, an open man. That's Pygott, makes the basket catch at the Fordham 42. Found the open hole. Bradford lays a hit, but Pygott holds on to the football.
Well, Cam Pygott, the 5'10 senior from Philly. He's only 5'10", 190, not one of the bigger receivers in the Patriot League. He's done a great job at making contested catches today, going up and over defenders to make the grab.
Georgetown up to the Fordham 42. Pygott up over 100 yards receiving today. Holtschlag throwing again. Wants to go deep right side. Tight coverage. The catch is made, but out of bounds. And guess what? That's Pygott going deep again.
Pygott on Kemper. We've seen the 2 number 14s locked up, clashing heads pretty much all game long. Pygott has got his share, but Kemper has done a good job deterring him from catching every ball that's came his way.
And Evan, you notice, throughout this season, despite how good Niall Perkins is, they don't have him shadow the top receiver, and that's because they feel really confident in Alex Kemper on the other side.
And he can do everything, play zone, come into the box, anything you need on a football field.
They fake the jet sweep, throw on the run, intercepted! Boogie Owens leaps up, a wobbly spiral brought down at the 38-yard line.
Boogie Owens, a freshman from Texas, Coach Conlon said he's one of our best coverage guys already. As a 19-year-old freshman, he said he came from a great program in Aledo, Texas, and was a 2-time state champion. That's his second interception so far this season. Expect him to be really good in years to come.
Boogie Owens had his first career interception against Holy Cross. He gets his second here in the fourth quarter against Georgetown. A Georgetown offense that continues to struggle, still held to just 3 points with 13:15 left in the fourth quarter. Fordham 24-3, and they'll look to add when we come back. Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin, Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
I'm Isabella Terracini.
And I'm Barrett Spreitzer. We're 2 of your hosts for College Gridiron, the exclusive home for all things college football on WFUV Sports.
Join us as we break down the biggest matchups of the week, Heisman hopefuls, and college football playoff previews.
Listen in on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin. 13:15 left in the fourth quarter, and the Rams in control, 24-3 lead, and Holtschlag throwing his second interception of the season. A pass that might have been tipped on the way, came out wobbly, and Boogie Owens leaps up, makes the catch, and gets Fordham the ball back. Evan, this defense has just been terrific all night long.
They've dominated on every front of this football game. Rushing yards, they've only allowed 63. We know the theme with Georgetown and rushing yards, if they're going to win the football game, they're going to win the rushing battle. Not been the case so far today. The Rams defense not allowing that. Passing yards only 177. If you're holding an offense to under 200 in the fourth quarter, you're doing a good job through the air as well. So really hard to think of where to go if you're the Hoyas offensive coordinator when the Rams defense and James Conway and Mike Courtney are flying all over the field.
70th meeting for the Rams and the Hoyas. Fordham's won the last 9 of 11. No Julius Luffrich to start this drive. Fordham at their own 39. Hand off to Rodriguez, takes up the middle, spins off one tackle, brought down at the 43 for a gain of 4.
And with Luffridge limping off the field a little bit on the last drive, you wonder how much you'll see of him and how much you'll see of Jacob Rodriguez instead of him. Luffridge standing on the sideline right now, looking ready to go in, but it seems like this will be Rodriguez's drive so far.
12:50 left in the fourth, Fordham leading by 21. Second down and 6. Snap, play fake, Capaldi unloads deep right side, Cole Thornton, and overthrew him by about 5 yards. Maybe had a step there.
Cole Thornton had a step at the very end there, did a great job of stacking the corner or cutting him off and making sure he's directly behind him, leaving some room for Capaldi to lay it out there, just unable to connect. But you can see Fordham not looking to run the clock out. They're shooting the ball downfield.
Third down and 6, 12 and a half to play. It's Rodriguez offset left. Capaldi adjusts the play. Ricky Gonzalez on the near side comes in for Cole Thornton. Georgetown appears to be sending pressure. No, they'll drop bet. Only a 3-man rush. Capaldi rolls out right, throws, and it's batted down. Excellent coverage in the secondary and slapped away. And that is DeAndre Harris back after an injury scare with the pass break up to force the punt.
DeAndre Harris sticking with his receiver even when the play went on for about 7 or 8 seconds. That's very hard to do in man coverage as a corner.
Well, Will Hazlitt has been one of his lighter days so far this season. That's because the Fordham offense has been pretty solid today. Hazlitt stands shy of the 30. Gets the punt away, a strong one, spiraling, bounces at the 20-yard line, takes the Fordham roll inside the 10. Atkinson gonna down this at the 1-yard line. Inches away from the end zone. And Evan Harkin, you know a thing or two about how good Will Hazlitt is. That might have been his best punt of the season.
I saw Will Hazlitt breaking out the golf celebration in pregame warm-ups. He was kicking balls directly to the 1, the 2-yard line and hitting a little golf celly afterwards. He doesn't hit the golf celly. He goes to celebrate with his boys, but he deserved to hit some celebrations right there after a perfect punt.
After an excellent punt from Will Hazlitt, let's send it down to our sidelines reporter, Annabelle Watson, as the Rams in the driving seat.
Hey Lou, there seemed to be a sense of relief on that Jack Capaldi touchdown in the third quarter. Record breaker James Conway came down to the offense side of the bench to give them kudos, showing just how good of a teammate Conway is. So much excitement on the sideline on that Boogie Owens interception. Definitely a taste of the future on this final Patriot League matchup for the Fordham Rams. Back to you guys.
Well, that's an excellent point by Annabelle. This is now back-to-back seasons where Fordham has found a safety that they think is going to be really good. And Coach Conlon speaks very highly of a lot of his young talent. He was very clear with us how high he thinks the ceiling is for Boogie Owens, where he said, once he gets a little bit stronger, I think he's going to be one of the best safeties in this conference.
Basically just saying it's going to take some time. We know that just means getting into the weight room and getting older. He's just an 18-year-old freshman right now. That body's going to look a lot different when he's 21 years old and has had already played 3 years of college football. Expecting to see some big things out of a talented safety there. But that's a safety room, like you're saying, Lou, with a lot of young promise right now. The injured Andrew Osmond and Mathani Paul Swinson were having great breakout campaigns in their sophomore years before both suffering season-ending injuries, forcing Owens into playing, who's now also looking like he's going to join that really good young safety class.
Yeah, you think about the depth they have. Niall Perkins will graduate after 5 seasons here at Rose Hill, but Osmond and Mathani Paul Swinson, juniors next year. Nate Lindsey-Gill suffered an injury, but he's another junior they feel very confident in. Obviously, Boogie Owens, who we're highlighting. Alex Kemper has another year. This is a secondary that has a lot of talent.
And Niall Perkins told us to watch out for some of those younger guys like Terrence Jones, TJ as well, and said they're going to be really good in a couple of seasons.
Holzschlag stands at his own end zone after the brilliant punt by Will Hazlitt. Hazlitt has been one of the best punters in the Patriot League. Coach Conlon said he thinks he's the best punter in the Patriot League. Snap. Handoff up the middle and plenty of space. Hart takes it up the middle and picks up the first down. Maybe that takes a little bit of a luster away from Hazlitt's punt. 1 carry, 11 yards.
Well, this offensive line for the Hoyas finally opening up some rushing lanes. They've been pretty good all season in the past. I mentioned they're the second best team in protecting their quarterback in terms of sacks. They've only let up 8. Haven't gotten the rushing game going this season.
1st and 10 from the 12. A flag comes on the snap. This should be going against the offense. They signal false start. Going back to that run by Savion Hart, there was a hole up the middle, and boy, he closed that gap. Lightning speed. That is, in high school, a track All-American. Really impressive athlete from Minnesota that has seized a larger role with some of the injuries. Naeem Kearney coming in and out of the lineup. He's been injured himself as coming in and out, but kid they have a lot of faith in.
And they'll tell you, pretty much every football player, there's a difference between track speed and football speed. Those guys that run track and come over to the field look a little bit different when they're flying around.
11:30 to play, ball on the 7 after the false start. They hand it off to Hart. He runs right, and that time, no space, just gets back to the line of scrimmage. Jaworski and co. setting the edge.
Yeah, no room to use your really electric speed. If those two guys are over there, Matt Jaworski and James Conway both together on that tackle.
Savion Hart stays out there for 2nd and long. Savion Hart led all of Minnesota as a senior in high school with over 2,000 rushing yards. Play fake, Holzschlag throws right side. It's brought in by Pygott, has the first down, and Pygott's great day continues.
Well, the state of Minnesota, not one you typically see a lot of players from in the Patriot League. The same theme with Hawaii, where a lot of these offensive linemen and the Georgetown Hoyas are recruiting from. So a lot of diversity here in terms of states that the Hoyas will go and get players from.
You take a look at the Georgetown offensive line. Losini Maka, Kason Mahukaka'awa, 2 Hawaiian natives, center and right guard. And it's an offensive line that has received some accolades, some Phil Steele honors. Pretty solid offensive line. 3rd down and 1. Handoff up the middle. This one's going to be close. They get the chains. They say on that last reception, Pygott didn't have enough for the first, but they pick it up here with the run.
Big first down right there. The last thing you want to do for pride's sake, if you're Georgetown right now, is have to punt, have a 3-and-out, and give the Rams the ball right back and let them keep this bleeding going. You want to go down there and show some pride for your school.
The clock will dip under 10 minutes here. Fordham leading by 21. Holzschlag looks right, throws right, head-high catch by Pygott. At the 32-yard line, Pygott continues to rack up the receptions and the yardage.
Going for the senior Pygott. Dunman is a junior, and then Kibble, who we mentioned, is out of this game right now, a junior as well. So trying to get the older guy in Cam Pygott some more receptions in one of his last games in the all-white.
A lot of young talent on this Georgetown team. Cam Pygott doesn't really fit that bill. Holzschlag looking left, wants the backfield. Inarebe has the first down, speeding forward past the 40-yard line. Georgetown going into the running back depth a little bit.
Well, Inarebe did not play at all in 2023, did not see a single snap as a freshman. Now as a sophomore, taking a bigger leap and actually having a spot in that offense. 36 carries, 91 yards, and a touchdown coming into today. And he's had a pretty decent day today as well.
Less than 9 to play. Georgetown at their own 44. Inarebe stays out there. Holzschlag, play fake, throws left side. Tipped up and brought in, taken along the sideline. Wrapped up at the 20-yard line is Keenan Richardson Cook. Niall Perkins in coverage there, leapt the throw. It was off the hand of Richardson Cook. He stayed in bounds and made the catch.
Well, Trey Bradford was on the Fordham sideline after making what looked like it was going to be a pass breakup with a little bit of a celebration before he realized and probably thought to himself, how did he catch that one? Great catch by Richardson Cook.
Georgetown at the 20-yard line. Holzschlag looks right, throws right for the sideline, incomplete. Wanted Pygott, Alex Kemper in coverage, 14 on 14.
That time Pygott slipped when coming out of his route. He seems to be on his backside coming out of the break, and Holschlag doesn't know what to do, ends up just firing it out of bounds over in that area.
8:17 left in the fourth. Georgetown has been held to just 3 points so far today, and this is just their second red zone trip. Holschlag looks right, quickly throws over the middle, and has a tight end, Max McCormick, at the 15-yard line.
McCormick been somewhat of a safety blanket for this team, especially since Isaiah Grimes has not been available as of late for them. He's been the guy to step up at the tight end spot.
Third down and 5, less than 8 to play. Nina Uribe in the backfield to the left of Holschlag. Pair of receivers on either side. Holschlag pumps, throws for the end zone. One hand grab. Did he get the feed in? What's the call? Referees, no single yet. And eventually they'll say incomplete. That was an impressive one-hand grab. Along that sideline, Max McCormick again there. Evidently out of bounds.
Absolute circus catch right there. It would have been a completion if the sideline was 3 yards wider right there. Very athletic play.
4th and 5, Georgetown gonna go for it. 7:38 left in the fourth. They trail 24-3 here at Jack Coffey Field. And Fordham looks to be sending pressure once again. Barletta and Conway creep up. Here they come. Holschlag stands. It's intercepted. Left by Trey Bradford. Laterals it back to Pascarella. Pascarella looks to take it all the way. 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown. He flipped it to Alex Kemper. Trey Bradford came up limp after the interception, lateraled it back to Kemper, and a pick six, Kemper's second of the season.
Wow, Lou, the craziest play of the season so far. Trey Bradford, a guy who's been playing on special teams only his entire time here at Fordham, now in his senior year, gets to start, gets to finally play because of the safety issues we mentioned. Coach Conlon said we love having guys like Trey Brad who are always prepared. We know we can focus on them, expect them to do what they need to do. Trey Bradford, an interception. He looks like he's going to head for a touchdown, then reaches down and grabs his hamstring. Looks like he completely tore it as he's unable to even move. He's running with the hamstring in his hand and then flips the ball to Kemper, who then uses that speed down the sideline and takes it for 6. You hope Trey Bradford is okay. What a play from number 36.
And this is likely a swan song for Trey Bradford, someone that came out pretty deep on this safety chart, and he's going to run into a pile of Fordham players on the sidelines giving him love. Coach Conlon walked him back to the sideline, patting him on the chest and smiling. What a creative play by Trey Bradford. Kemper's second pick six of the season. Here's the extra point from Henderson. Fordham ahead 30-3 right now, pending the extra point to make it 31. Snap the spot. The kick is on its way, and it's good. Fordham a 31-3 lead after the pick six, and they're having fun here in the Bronx.
And Trey Bradford looks like he might be all right. He's now walking around under his own power. He's smiling, laughing. It was cool to see him do a little dance to his sideline as they all thought maybe he blew out his hamstring. Everybody here giving him a standing ovation, clapping as he hobbles to the sideline, and then he hits a little dance, and everybody puts a smile on their face, laughs, and goes to hug him on the sideline. You could bet everybody on that sideline loves Trey Bradford. One of those guys came in as a walk-on, knew he would have to try as hard as he could at every single little thing to get onto the football field here for the football Rams, given the talent. Did just that, comes away with a massive pick, and he'll run with that football into the medical tent right now to get that hamstring checked out. He's not leaving the prize behind.
That is spectacular stuff. And Evan, you've talked with me and we've talked to Coach Conlon about Trey Bradford, not the most athletically gifted player, so needs the work ethic to be able to do stuff like that. And it's awesome to see him slide into a starting role and play well here down the stretch this season.
100%. You see the entire sideline reflect that theme.
Well, we have Annabelle Watson down along the sidelines following the pick six. Annabelle, how's it going down there?
Wow, what a complete celebration from the Fordham Rams. You had junior Peter Shaloub just spilling his water bottle onto everyone, almost like a champagne shower. It was so fun to watch, and of course, Coach Conlon helping the player off. You know, it was just really amazing to see, and what a great ending to this final Patriot League matchup. We hope the Fordham Rams can lock it down, but we'll have to see. You know, we have a little bit left, but really just a great ending and an amazing celebration from this sideline.
Celebrations happening along that sideline. It is a sideline that hasn't been able to do much celebrating this year. Enter today 1-9. They started the season 0-8. Had their first win November 2nd against Colgate, and poised to have their second win here today to close out Patriot League play, and doing it in dominant fashion, Evan.
And a team that's seemingly getting better at all phases of football as you go down the season. These last 3 games, Lou, look like a completely different Rams team from those games earlier on when they were playing non-conference schedule. We made it a point maybe when they get to the Patriot League play, a lot of the games are going to look different. They are, but so are the Fordham Rams. They're not just playing different types of opponents. They're also playing better themselves overall.
This is a Fordham team that I think if they were playing this level of football, and it's tough, you can't play revisionist history, but if they were playing this level of football earlier in the season, you wonder maybe if the Holy Cross and Lafayette games go differently.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder at this point, especially with the way Jack Coffey has been playing as of late. If you take away the turnovers he's been making, he's having outstanding games these last 3 games, just trying to put it all together with the turnovers. But you wonder where this team would be if they were playing like this the whole way.
Henderson kicks it out of bounds, and this is yet another game where Bennett Henderson on the kickoff gets it out of bounds, penalized. That's really been the one thing that when Colin talks to us, it's the kickoffs. They've been an issue for him this season.
Every single time he says, yeah, Bennett's doing great. He looks really good for a freshman, but then leaves at the end. Oh, but he's got to stop kicking the ball out of bounds. That's something he's had issues with here at Fordham. That's his 5th time this season so far. He's a little upset on the sideline, and he's a freshman. You really want to make sure he's getting better and better. You're hoping this will be your kicker for the next 4 years.
Well, important Patriot League updates. Bucknell and Holy Cross squaring off today. If Bucknell won, they could have locked up the Patriot League. They did not win. Holy Cross comes away with a big-time win that puts Lehigh in a spot to come away with the title. Handoff to Hart, blown up in the backfield, loss of 4.
Absolutely destroying that play that time was the Fordham Rams defensive line. Multiple players there. Colby Spencer back there along with Peter Chalhoub wrecking that play.
We'll call it a loss of 3. Colby Spencer makes the tackle. The clock dips under 7 minutes here in the 4th, with Georgetown now trailing by 28. Holtschlag, quarterback draw, steps up, met right away. The tackle by the freshman Carter Hess.
Carter Hess all over that play right there. Looked like he knew what was coming before it started. Holtschlag sees nothing open. He goes and runs up the middle, but Carter Hess closes that off right away.
No gain. It sets up 3rd and 13 with 6.5 to play. Fordham defensively has exercised their will today. Holtschlag back to throw. Lofts it over the middle. Incomplete. Terrence Jones the second. Going shoulder pad to shoulder pad with number 12, Keenan Richardson Cook. And the punting unit once again will have to trot out for Georgetown.
And along with seeing the older guys that you know are playing some of their last games playing well, you also want to see freshmen playing well for the future of this Rams program. TJ, Terrence Jones, one of those young freshmen playing really well out here today. Him and Boogie Owens showing that this back end, this secondary might be very good in a couple seasons.
Patrick Ryan, shy of the 20-yard line, will look to punt. Fordham up 31-3. Sky kick, Ryan able to get the punt away. The fair catch by Cole Thornton at the 20-yard line. The Fordham offense back out with 6:08 to play. Returning to that point about Patriot League football, Holy Cross, a 23-yard field goal in the final minute to beat Bucknell 40-38. Bucknell falls to 3-2. So now it's Holy Cross and Lehigh tied at 4-1. And if Lehigh wins next week, they'll have the Patriot League title. That was a team that came into the season ranked 6 out of 7 in the preseason poll.
You truly never know in the Patriot League. We were talking about it with other radio broadcasters from other schools, Lou. It used to be Holy Cross and Fordham's league to lose for a couple seasons. Not anymore. Nobody knows who's going to win. Bucknell, very good, surprising this season.
Capaldi hands off to Luffridge, back into the game. Picks up 5 quickly, then stopped in his tracks at the 35.
And that Lehigh team, very good as well. A stout defense, a good rushing attack. They were definitely contenders to win the entire time, although not picked early on.
I got to shout out our on-site Jack Warner, his dad, Tim Warner, graduate of Lehigh. I got to be pretty happy about the spot there, and with 1 game left to play, although nothing official just yet. Holy Cross still has a fighting chance to get their 6th straight Patriot League title, and Holy Cross is Holy Cross. You never rule anything funky.
Absolutely can't rule them out of winning the Patriot League ever, no matter who's the head coach, quarterback, or middle linebacker.
Lehigh will have to play Lafayette next week. They beat Holy Cross 10-7 the week prior. Luffridge gets the run, burrows up the middle, and picks up 2 to set up 3rd down, and they'll say 3.
This Fordham offense seemed to wind down a little bit right now on this drive. We noticed a couple of drives ago they were still looking for Cole Thornton 50 yards downfield, looking to stretch the defense and score a touchdown. Now 2 straight rushing attacks. It looks like they're more looking to kill the time, run out the clock, and leave with a W.
Clock under 5 minutes to go here in the 4th. Fordham in a spot where they can milk this one out. 4:45 to play, 3rd down and 3 from their own 38. Capaldi hands off to Rodriguez, up the middle, bounces outside. Extending for the 1st down, it'll be close. He's at the 41-yard line, should have the distance to move the chains, yes, they say.
And Rodriguez, a good, hard, strong run right there. This is a younger guy, a sophomore, that's looking to prove his case that he can be the starter for this team once Julius Luffridge moves on. So playing for more than just a win out here today are some of these guys that are in that number 2 spot on the depth chart, especially the younger ones.
Coach Conlon has talked to us that the quality of recruits that they're bringing in get better and better each year, and this season, a bit uncharacteristic. Fordham picked 3rd in the preseason poll, 1 first-place vote. Injuries to their starting quarterback, C.J. Montez, James Conway, derailed that vision. Capaldi hands off Rodriguez, runs right, tripped up right away. David Ely in for the tackle.
David Ely right there sniffing that one out. You can't really tell David Ely that a run play is going to come, or he's going to know, as there's now pushing and shoving afterwards. Hank Perry trying to get a call going as he throws his hands in the air from a little shove. That's the entire drive. We've seen that going on, so the both teams kind of going at one another now that this one's pretty much been decided.
Fordham has rushed for 130 yards today, 75 of those from Luffridge, and it's Luffridge in the backfield for 2nd and 10. The clock continues to trickle down. 3:10 and ticking. 4 on the play clock. 2, 1, here's the snap. Handoff Luffridge, up the middle, breaks by 1 tackle, up to the 45. Tackled at the 46-yard line. That is a 4-yard gain.
Such a strong rush there from Luffridge. Initially got stopped at the line of scrimmage, and then all of a sudden he just seems to be transported 5 yards downfield.
3rd down and 6. 2:40 and ticking as Fordham continues to milk it. You're following along with Julius Luffridge in his chase to be the Patriot League leading rusher. Jamar Curtis, 51 rushing yards today. Luffridge, 79. So he'll be firmly in first place by final whistle. Handoff Luffridge, takes it up the middle again, pushing the pile forward. A late surge gets him past the 1st down. He falls forward with his back to the end zone at the Georgetown 42, and that ends up being almost a 15-yard carry there.
And I was just going to say we'll expect a few more rushing yards from Julius Luffridge. That's what this offense is going for right now, and he supplied it right away.
Conlon gives him a firm pat to the helmet. We reach the 2-minute timeout, and Fordham, good vibes all around. 31-3 they lead, and they have the football in the final 2 minutes. Lou Orlando, Evan Harkin, it's Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
Hey sports fans, it's Bobby C. I'm the sports director here at WFUV. From live broadcasts of Fordham athletics to coverage of all the professional sports teams in the NYC, we've got everything a sports fan could ask for. Like talking sports? Check out One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show, as well as our diverse collection of podcasts. If you're a Fordham student interested in joining our program, feel free to shoot me an email, bobbyc@wfuv.org. And as always, thank you to all of our listeners who support us every week. 90.7 FM is the home of WFUV Sports.
Orlando, Evan Harkin, our sidelines reporter Annabelle Watson, our on-site Jack Warner. Fordham looking to close out their second win of the season, up big at home, 31-3, and using the legs of Julius Luffridge to effectively finish this game. Luffridge 91 yards on the ground today, 9 shy of his third straight 100-yard gain, and it is all but certain that by final whistle today, he'll be the Patriot League's leading rusher despite missing a game earlier this season.
And the toughness and durability of Julius Luffridge is just insane. You mentioned he only missed one game. He has so many carries, had 26 last game, 25 and 24 the 2 games right before that. Those are numbers where you expect a running back to maybe be banged up, maybe have to miss a game, a couple of snaps. Not Julius Luffridge. We mentioned earlier on in the game, he had to leave and look very injured. He's back in there right now in the fourth quarter as Jacob Rodriguez takes his spot now that the score looks the way it does. But Julius Luffridge can never be counted out of a game because of that toughness.
Julius Luffridge, tough running by him on that last 12-yard gain. Gives Fordham 1st and 10 from the Georgetown 42. Final 2 minutes. Hand off to Rodriguez. Runs right, bursts through a hole. 35-30. Tripped up but stays on his feet. 20. Brought down inside the 15-yard line. Jacob Rodriguez keeps the feet moving and he gets Fordham in the red zone.
Look at those moves from Jacob Rodriguez, basically just slipping tackles, not juking or anything, just seeing a defender right when they're about to tuck that helmet and go in and engage. He slips to the left, slips to the right, and keeps on moving forward.
Rodriguez out, Luffridge in, and Fordham can enter victory formation. Georgetown 3 timeouts, but they're not going to use them. 1:35 to play. Jack Capaldi, for just the second time this season, will drop to a knee. Final 90 seconds, and Evan, I don't think there's a better way for Fordham to close out Patriot League play, a season that was at times so frustrating and so demoralizing. Ironically enough, ends on an overwhelming bright spot. Everything that we were following, the storylines, Conway and Luffridge, just a dominant win all around.
And there's more than just winning the Patriot League trophy. That's obviously the ultimate goal for this team every season, but there's a lot of little things that you want to do during a football season. You want to keep your pride. You want to defend your home turf, and they've been able to do that now twice this season. So things they can hang their hat on despite a season without the outcome that they hoped.
You know, it was just a few weeks ago we were facing the prospect of, is Fordham going to go winless for the first time since 1999 as Capaldi drops to a knee, 35 seconds left. That'll do it. A winless season, everyone in that locker room knows what that would mean for a coaching staff and a guy in head coach Joe Conlon that, by all accounts, the players love. And so to rally here and stay engaged despite postseason hopes going out the window a long, long time ago, says a lot about the character of the players in that locker room.
College football is extremely cutthroat. I don't think a lot of people understand that. The players really love their coaches here at Fordham, all of them, and they know that what the record reflects on coaches' salary, whether they're going to be hired for the next season or not, and then that reflects on their families. So they know they have to go out there and perform for just more than a record, more than a win. They have to do that for the lives of their coaches, and they did it out here today.
Well, the clock runs out, and the final score, Fordham 31, Lafayette 3. Ram offense puts up a season-high 31 points, kissed off by a pick 6. Trey Rodriguez flipping it back to Alex Kemper. And how about the defense? Just 3 points allowed, and all-out outstanding victory in all aspects.
Yeah, we've seen the defense play amazing all season long. It's fitting that they play their best game in the last game of Patriot League play here. Also fitting that the offense finally came around and was complementary to the defense. Whenever the defense gave them a good situation, a place where they should end up scoring, the offense finally executed, especially in the red zone, Lou.
And of course, the top headline, the top storyline, James Conway, 11 tackles today in what will be his final game of the season. 11 tackles, that gives him 436 on the season. It's a new Patriot League record. So James Conway officially enshrined in history.
The tackle king of the Patriot League, and rightfully so. Anybody you ask on the Fordham team in the Patriot League will tell you this guy deserves it for all the work he puts in. So good to see him getting the results for that work. And he's got another season that he's expecting to stay at Fordham for, so expect a lot more tackles on that number in the future.
Conway could make that record unbreakable on the offensive end. Julius Luffridge with 91 yards on the ground and a touchdown becomes just the fourth player in Fordham history to have multiple 1,000-yard rushing seasons. And at final whistle, he becomes the Patriot League's leading rusher. Another phenomenal day for Fordham's best offensive player.
The heart and soul of this team, Julius Luffridge, easily one of the best players in the Patriot League, the locomotive of this offense. They really all run around him, and he was running wild today, as he has been throughout the later half of the season and really all season long.
The final score, 31-3, Fordham victorious in the Patriot League finale. Fordham's not done. They come back home again next week to take on Merrimack in a non-conference bout. But Evan, you and I are done. Next week we hand it off to Chris Carino and Griffin Stevenson. So I think only fitting to give you a chance for one final remarks. A former player in this program, you had a chance to follow the team in the booth this season. And let me be the first to say, not the first to say, a million people have said it, but you did a terrific job this season, man. You were awesome.
Thank you, Lou. All coming from you right there. It was all your work that allowed me to be great. But in all seriousness, it's truly been awesome. Such a great opportunity to go up here and cover the team from the box that I used to play for on the field. You know, when my mind changed and I didn't want to be a Fordham football player anymore, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And then finding out that this was something that could be achievable, doing it, finding success, and really loving it has been awesome in my life. And a thanks to you, Lou, for making it a lot easier with your great play-by-play, of course.
Well, it's been an absolute blast, and as someone that has now gotten to work this gig for the past 2 seasons, it's been the fulfillment of an absolute dream. I remember coming up here as a freshman and shadowing Nick DeLuca, who is a legend and miles better than I could ever dream of achieving. But I remember watching him and going, man, it'd be awesome to be in that spot one day. And not just to get to call these games is an absolute thrill. It's a blast to cover this team and everyone in the program and the facilities, from Coach Conlon, who I'll say is the funniest coach in all of athletics. He's awesome. The players have been so gracious, especially Garrett Cody, now Perkins, spent time to talk with us. Coach Ryan Greenhagen spent time to talk with us. But above all else, I think the most fun was getting to do it over the course of these 2 years with 2 of my great friends. Last year I got to do it with Brian Raybacks. This year I got to do it with yourself, and that is, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, having fun and making the memories along the way. I could not have asked for 2 better people to go on this ride with me. It was an absolute thrill, Evan.
Having fun and doing it with the people you love are what it's all about, and that's really what we've been out here doing, Lou. Great to say we've been able to do it. Cole Thornton made a joke with me when he saw me on the bus for week 1. Oh, you just couldn't get away from us, could you? I guess we couldn't, and I'm glad that I didn't, sticking it up here with you in the box all season long, Lou.
It's been an absolute joy, and for our audience, thank you for tuning in this season, and you'll be in great hands next week with Chris and Griffin. One last time, the final score, Fordham 31, Georgetown 3. We send it back to the Rose Hill Studios. Kurt Sipple and Naomi Ray for the one-on-one postgame report.
The one-on-one postgame report.
Welcome to the one-on-one post-game report. I am Kurt Sipple, joined alongside Naomi Ray again. We just saw Fordham put an absolute amazing game to close out Lou and Evan's last time broadcasting for the Fordham Rams. Man, it was such an awesome game that we got to saw. Isn't like Naomi, like seeing Fordham win by a score of 31-3. It's just so awesome for Fordham today, and keep on what they've been doing, trying to do all season.
It was definitely a highlight of this season.
And then we'll bring it to the highlights for Fordham today, starting with a Harp ran straight into the arms of Conway, which ties him for the Patriot League record in tackles with 432.
Holtschlag back to throw. Pressure coming. Hit as he throws and intercepted. Niall Perkins. A flag after the interception along the sideline. 35-30. Cuts back. 20. Brought down inside the 20-yard line.
The Holtschlag interception for the long ball, but then after that we see James Conway stuffing the gap for Georgetown, advancing for the all-time leading tackler in Patriot League history.
Holtschlag hands off to Cox, runs up the middle, met by Conway. Conway brings him down, and he stands alone in the Patriot League. 433 tackles. No one in Patriot League history has ever made more.
With limited clock, Capaldi throws a missile to KJ Reed, giving sophomore Reed his first career touchdown.
Capaldi, play fake, throws, over the middle, diving grab. Brought in by KJ Reed, in the end zone, touchdown Fordham. An impressive diving grab by the sophomore wide receiver, and that's the first touchdown of his career.
Holtschlag under pressure throws another interception, this time to the 19-year-old Boogie Owens for his second interception of the game.
The jet sweep, throw on the run, intercepted! Boogie Owens leaps up, a wobbly spiral brought down at the 38-yard line.
Yet again, having to deal with the onslaught from the Fordham defense, Holtschlag throws his third interception, resulting in a pick six for the Fordham Rams.
Holtschlag stands, it's intercepted, left by Trey Bradford. Laterals it back to Pascarella. Pascarella looks to take it all the way. 30, the 20, the 10, touchdown!
Now we will be joined alongside our broadcasters, Lou, Orlando, and Evan Harkin, to break down some of this game with us. How you doing, Lou and Evan?
What's up, guys? Happy to be back with you.
Doing pretty good.
Man, Lou and Evan, I just can't believe that this is the last time we're going to hear you for this season. It felt like such a ride, getting to do the first game in Bowling Green, cutting highlights with me and Tucker Austin. Man, this just doesn't feel real right now, seeing you guys go for this time. How does it feel, and what's your favorite memory from Fordham football this year?
I mean, it's absolutely surreal, because I think you hear from everyone. You hear it in high school, you hear it in college, make sure to appreciate it, because the time flies by so quickly, and it really does. Freshman year does not feel like that long ago to be a senior now. To call the last Fordham football game, it's an odd feeling. I don't really know, but I know that I enjoyed it every step of the way, and even throughout this season, where at times, the final scores, some of the games weren't great. You still have a great time. You make them. You make the experience, and to get to do this alongside Evan, I will say my favorite memory probably is Lafayette. We went to Lafayette. It was game 1 of the World Series, and so myself, Evan, Will Talent, we hit up this great sports bar across the street. We watched game 1. The Yankees lost, whatever. Had pumpkin spice espresso martinis. They were delicious. It was a great time, and I think that was one of my favorite parts of the 2 years, was getting to really explore some of the places we get to travel to. You get to go to Pennsylvania. We got to go to Bowling Green. We get to check out a place called Bar Louie. That you're traveling, you got to make the most of it. And we really got to explore and experience some of the cool places that Fordham football takes you along the ride for. So I couldn't be more grateful. And to reiterate, no one better to do it with than Evan.
100%. I don't think I can top the pumpkin spice martinis. Those were pretty amazing. But just to echo what Lou said, really been such an honor, especially to do what I love with the people that I love, the guys that come along on the trips, especially Lou. One of my favorite parts of the trips are probably not riding in the Ram van. That'll be the worst one. Yeah, the Ram van gets a little tough. But I think our conversations with Coach Conlon together might be my favorite part. He's by far the funniest coach on campus. He's always got a lot of personality to bring to the table. But just been a complete honor. Glad that the Rams could set us out in the right way.
That's what I was just going to say, is that the Rams finally got you guys the win that you guys deserved to call for the last game of the season.
Listen, they played a phenomenal game, and I think if you've been following along with this season, this was very clearly brewing. Last week they made a couple mistakes against Bucknell. That was a very sharp, very crisp game. That Colgate game, that rally in the second half, this is something that was building, and I'm not sure you expected to feel this way after the blowout at Lehigh, but ever since then they've really turned that season around. I think they're going to end the season on a really strong high note.
And their stars step up today. The best players played like the best players on the field for the Rams. I mean, you're talking James Conway, Matt Jaworski, Cole Thornton, and not to mention Jack Coffey has looked like a complete different quarterback in these last 3 games than the first half of the season. He's still having the turnover problems that I'm sure he's going to get worked out in his future, but you can truly see the talent starting to shine in these last few Patriot League games.
Yes. Quarterback Jack Coffey did have a great game today. What are your thoughts specifically on his ability to step up in key moments?
He looks so much more comfortable the last 3 weeks, which I'm sure comes with finally being a starter, seeing yourself as a starter, preparing like you're going to start the football game that week. Just building that veteran presence, I think, has allowed him comfortability, and with that comfortability, he can really let his talent show throughout it.
One more question for you guys, and then we'll let you go so you can come back to the studio and we can celebrate some great Fordham football calls with you guys. But is James Conway the greatest linebacker in Fordham history?
Listen, I have a lot of respect for Ryan Greenhagen, but I think even Ryan Greenhagen might tell you that he is the best. James Conway, I think Evan can probably speak to it more, but Conway is a freak, and he does, in the best way, he does everything right. We always joke about whenever there's a run, it feels like Conway's right in the hole. He's always in the right spot. I'll put my money on James Conway. I think he's the best Fordham linebacker of all time. I think he's the best current Patriot League linebacker. He is a really special talent, and Fordham fans are lucky to get to watch him every week.
Yeah, I've gotten to see the way James Conway works on and off the field, up close and personal. I actually had to guard him as like a punt scout returner, which was not fun at all. You can imagine how competitive and how intense James Conway is at practice, so it doesn't get too fun for the scout team guys going against him. But in terms of his preparation, this is the type of guy that does not go to sleep unless he just watched hours of film on the game that might be a week or even longer away. He's just ultra locked in, always focused on the game. Along with that is Ryan Greenhagen right next to him in that Fordham linebacking all-time crew right there. Just 2 guys that couldn't care more about football, so it's good to see the results come out of it.
Well, thank you guys. We'll see you back at the studio.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Well, with that, we're just going to close it out. Fordham beating Georgetown 33-3. Fordham will play a non-conference game next Saturday against Merrimack and Fordham. You'll have your new broadcasters, Griffin Stevenson and Chris Carino, respectively, will be on the call for that game. And I just want to thank this wonderful studio crew we had today. Lydia Perner was our wonderful producer. Grace McCarran had the amazing graphics that you saw on the YouTube stream. Frank Spacuzza cutting those awesome highlights. Hailing from North Carolina, our supervising producer, Caleb Stein. And a quick rundown for the guys on the field, at the field. Annabelle Watson was your sideline reporter. Jack Warner this weekend didn't have club baseball, so he was your on-site producer. For Lou Orlando and Evan Harkin's last game as your wonderful broadcasters for Fordham Football. For Naomi Ray in studio, I am Kurt Sippel. Your sports director is Bobby Chaffardini. And Fordham Football is a production of WFUV Sports.